And welcome to MLS Making Law Simple. My name is David Helm. I am a licensed practicing attorney in the state of Michigan, unless you read about me on Twitter sometimes. And today we're talking Turtleboy, who's happy to. I see a daddy. I like that. Daddy, thank you. Thank you for joining. And with me sometimes is Valhalla, and with me most of the time is Jamie.
How we doing, y'all?
How we doing?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for, like I said, thanks for coming on. I've never heard of you. Not that that's, here nor there. I wasn't really following the Karen Reed case. There's another YouTuber that I work with sometimes, and he was following it quite a bit. He's been covering a lot of the pretrial matters, and so I've been watching. I know the circumstances around it, and I've been watching his channel. But he streamed your arraignment the other day. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. A YouTuber that has been charged with witness intimidation and conspiracy and unlawfully picketing a court.
Four pickidings.
Yeah.
Was it a court? I thought it was just a general picketing.
Well, the
whatever.
charge is picketing a court, which
okay,
I have.
I didn't even know that. I got whatever you want to charge me with. Just throw it on there. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. That's how the statute reads, is picketing a court.
Okay.
So, or maybe it's a court or judicial officer and blah, 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 that sort of thing. But yeah, so picketing in general, which is, I feel like we got rid of that with the, those
First
Johnny
Amendment,
Depp.
like
the Johnny Depp. No, with the
First Amendment.
those guys that
I was gonna say the Constitution, like it's like the most American. It's the most American thing you could do is pick it.
Right. Well, to others, it's not so much. No, but there was looking for Supreme Court cases, U.S. Supreme Court cases, that kind of hammer these down. We had those people that were picketing the funerals for service members.
Westboro Baptist. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. I couldn't think of that. I mean, that case really kind of put the nail in the coffin on this whole picketing thing. Yeah. So I'm surprised those laws are still out there and have not been struck down prior to this, because that's been a couple of years now. But yeah, you've been charged with picketing. So very interesting. But welcome. I want to give some people a background on the Karen Reed case. So that's kind of sets the foundation for all of this stuff. And I've been reading about it a lot. I've been watching your videos a lot. I've been reading and watching other stuff a lot. It's such a rabbit hole to go down. I came up from it the other day to do a little stream, and I felt like I just finished the bar exam, and for the first time I'm seeing the sunshine again in months. It's quite a complicated web. What I actually have is, so the hardest thing for me to figure out is who was who and how they were connected. So I have a little breakdown. Hopefully everyone can kind of follow along. But this is John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe, he's a Boston cop, was for 16 years. And in late January, or January 28, 2022, he is with his girlfriend, Karen Reed, at the Waterfall Bar and Grill in Canton, Massachusetts. Now it's starting to snow and cops are drinking there. The other people that are there is Chris Albert. I think this is Chris Albert. It's hard to kind of find a picture of him.
Yeah, we call him Chicken Parm Charlie. Yep.
Chicken Parm Charlie. All right.
Yeah.
So this is John O'Keefe's neighbor. He's also a town selectman, apparently. And then Brian Albert, who is Chris's brother and another Boston police officer.
Yeah, 29, like a decorated 29-year sergeant on a TV show called Boston's Finest. I don't know if there's celebrity cops, but he would qualify for that.
Okay.
Well, no.
And he also apparently lives just a few doors down from his brother, right? From this guy?
No, they live. Chris is poor.
Okay.
He's like Chris gets dragged to court a lot and has a lot of bad judgments against him. So Chris rents, I believe, and Brian owns owned the house that's behind me on the green screen there. But they lived probably a couple miles away from each other.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So, but they're brothers and they're there together along with Jennifer McCabe. McCabe. Yeah, sorry, McCabe.
MLS is good with names.
No, I am horrible with names. I will say everyone's name wrong. I just have to give a quick shout out to some people in chat. Flux, welcome. Flux. She is our resident conspiracy theorist, and she is absolutely awesome. You guys got to go check her out. She does these conspiracy theory streams and stuff. And it's not a conspiracy, or actually it could be a conspiracy, even though it's true. And most of the time it's true. But Jennifer McCabe is Albert's sister-in-law, right?
Brian Albert's sister-in-law.
Brian
Albert's she's no relation. So her sister is Brian Albert's wife.
Okay. So now O'Keefe and Reed had been dating for about 2 years. They lived together, although she owned a home somewhere else. She was renting it out and didn't live there. They lived together. And O'Keefe actually was living in Canton for a number of years, since 2014, really, because he was taking care of his niece and nephew after his brother and sister-in-law died.
Yes,
correct?
They died a couple months apart. So he kind of stepped in, adopted them both as the uncle. So he's kind of like uncle/dad.
Okay. Very, very nice of him to do that.
Oh, yeah. Everybody speaks highly of John.
So then Brian Albert decided around midnight or so that he was going to go home and join his son for a birthday drink of some sorts. I don't know was he just turning 21? Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it was like 22, and he was having some friends over the house. And it's weird. These people party with their kids. Like, it's very bizarre. And they're very close, these families. And they were going back to the house for like a party, like an after party. They were going to get snowed in together. And John was invited by Jennifer McCabe to go with them.
Okay. Now, I'm going to say for a second that this is not unusual. Like, I was on a stream earlier where we were talking about a bad judge in Arizona, but I brought up one in particular from Michigan. In fact, the very first trial I ever conducted was in front of this judge when I was at the prosecutor's office, and she went down in flames. That started with a divorce, and it led to an affair that took place with the lead investigating officer during a murder trial and all this stuff. But all of this came out that the judge, 2 of the prosecutors, and a bunch of state troopers, like usually the lead detectives, they like to take, dips in the hot tubs together, and they were very cliquey and very close, and they moved around in a little group. And so I don't think the fact that all these people hanging out together, being police officers and family and all that stuff, I find that to be very normal. Just in my, my experience and stuff.
We don't have to go there. There's more, but it's not important.
Anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up because we just happened to be talking about this really bad judge that finally got kicked off the bench. So
isn't that basically how the good old boy system works, though? I mean, they're all.
Well, it's still very much a good old boy system, yeah. But so at 12:15 or so, Karen Reed drops off John at Brian Albert's house because they're going to go woohoo and shit through the snowstorm, and she goes home, or she goes to John's house, which is her home. At about 4:30 or so, she wakes up. She doesn't see John around. She starts making some phone calls, sending some texts, and this I'm not really sure of. And maybe you can answer the question. Did she try to reach John directly? Did she send text, phone calls, or anything like that? Because I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. So the plan was that they didn't really know these people that well. Like, John worked with, they were both Boston cops, but it's a huge department, obviously. And they didn't know each other. And John was invited over there by Jen McCabe because their kids play sports together. So that's how they know each other. And, so John takes him up on, John's been drinking, like, all right, let's party. And Karen is not enthused about going there. And she's like, okay, go in there. Let me know it's okay. And then I'll go home. Like, in case let me know what the scene is like. Let me make sure that everything's okay. So that was the plan. So she waits outside for 10. She pulls up and then she waits outside for 10 minutes. And John, she texts him, calls, doesn't answer. And so she gets frustrated and she's like, fine, fuck it. He'll figure it out. I'm going home. Somebody's got to be the responsible one to go. And, there's 2 kids at home and only 1 kid was home at the time. But so she goes home, and then he doesn't come home for a couple hours. She gets scared and pissed because they had a fight a couple weeks prior to this. And, John was drinking this. It was the same thing. And she's like, you know how couples fight. It's just like, you're drinking again. You're not coming home and blah, blah, blah. And so she starts leaving voicemails on his answering machine saying, like, where the fuck are you? And I think one that even said, I fucking hate that you're doing this again to me. Like, the most incriminating thing you could possibly say if you just killed him. It's like the last thing you would say if you just killed him is like, I fucking hate you.
Right.
Or, short of a Google search.
Yeah,
would
short
like
of a Google search. So at 4:53 a.m. she starts getting really worried, and she calls Jen McCabe up, and she's like, because she dropped them off at the house, so she's like, the only one I know in there is Jen, so let's call Jen up. Calls Jen up. Jen's like, he never came in the house, and so the two of them meet up with a third friend named Carrie Roberts, and they start driving around, and they pull up to the house at about 6 a.m. in Canton, 34 Fairview Road. Karen immediately sees John lying
Now,
on the ground.
This is the house owned at the time by this man Brian Albert, right?
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
he's the Boston police officer.
Yeah, it's my background image. Yeah. So
Okay.
and so yeah, it's owned by Brian Albert, correct. And so in Karen's mind, he went inside, and then now she finds him on the ground, pretty much dead at 6 o'clock, gets out of the car, tries CPR, all this stuff. Jen calls 911, and he's pronounced dead an hour or two later. Now, when they get there, the Canton police first arrive, the town police, and they survey the scene of where the body was discovered, and they find some broken cocktail glass and some droplets of blood, but they don't go in the house, right? And if any of us have a dead cop on our front lawn, they're coming in your house. Your house is getting searched. Right?
Yeah.
So the house doesn't get searched at all. And Brian Albert, the homeowner, never comes outside. There are, multiple first responders on his yard, a hysterical screaming woman, a dog barking its face off, and the homeowner and his wife just stay inside and never come out. A trained first responder. So,
I want to push back on that a little bit because I don't know all the facts, but is it possible that they might have drunken themselves into a coma of which they would not wake for several hours?
No, because at 6:07, Jennifer McCabe called her sister Nicole inside the house, according to her call logs, which she later deleted. And Nicole answered calls at 6:07 and at 6:08 for durations of 10 and then 9 seconds. Not enough time to have a deep conversation, but certainly enough time to say, or perhaps whisper into the phone and say, "Don't come outside the house."
Okay. So that's Jennifer McCabe that was picked up. Now, Karen Reed then approached John's body and started performing CPR while others called 911, and that was Carrie Reed or Robert.
No,
right?
no, it was Jennifer McCabe called 911.
Oh, Jennifer McCabe. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Carrie was with Karen attempting to help John.
Okay. So now, but eventually Karen gets charged first with homicide and then now
manslaughter.
Manslaughter. Okay. Yeah. So manslaughter, which is essentially accidentally killing somebody. And now she's being charged with second-degree murder, leaving the scene of an accident, and vehicular manslaughter. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And so they find all they find is those shards of cocktail glass, right? No taillight, nothing about a taillight. And his body has no injuries on it. Like there's no broken bones, no bruises, nothing. All he has is two gigantically swollen black eyes, a 2.5-inch laceration in the back of the head, and that on his right arm. That
I completely forgot. The Broken Baker, who's a YouTuber, I invited him on, but he's Danish and he's probably sleeping right now. But he's been covering this case, and he did an awesome drawing of the configuration in which John would have to be in order to get hit by a car in the way to cause these sort of damages. And it is one of the funniest things. I've seen the 3D computer-generated rendering. His is by far way better, and I forgot to grab it and put it out there. But yeah, so after the injuries were identified, so 2 swollen black eyes, a small cut above the right eye, a cut to the left side of his nose, 2-inch lacerations on the back of his head, multiple skull fractures resulting in bleeding in the brain, and then the marks on his arm and those sort of things. At some point, people became curious about what exactly happened here. And that's kind of where you enter the story. Am I right?
Oh, no, I enter much later.
Oh, you enter much later. Okay.
Much later. So I enter a year and a quarter after this happened. So I remembered when this happened. It made the news when a cop is killed. And,
I remember the headlines when it first happened.
Yeah. And my thought was how sad, how sad for him, how sad for her, because it seemed like a tragic accident and a freak thing. And I thought nothing of it since then. And then it reappeared in the media after the Google search came out. in April of 2023. And that's what got me to read all the filings. And the more I read, the more I realized I was literally sitting on the story of the century. You'll never see a murder case like this. Like, people in the true crime community, it's very rare when you have a defendant who is quite clearly 100% factually innocent, and it's obvious, and that 99% of the world looking at this knows what happened, and yet the district attorney's office is pushing forward in spite of that. Like it is the most corrupt case.
So a little bit about my background. I'm a litigator. I do criminal defense. I also do family law and civil litigation and things like that. But when I'm dealing with criminal cases, I am a defense attorney. And I am a huge proponent of you're absolutely innocent unless the state bends over backwards to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The bias is in favor of the defendant. And I have a huge problem with our society that sees people being charged and assumes they're guilty unless they're proven innocent. And so what I've been trying to do on this channel is emphasize that to the extent possible. And if you guys are new subs or you're just listening to me for the first time, I would highly recommend you go check out my playlist or anyone else's, the Zachariah Anderson case, because that is a perfect example of an innocent person without a shred of evidence against them. You know what? Honestly, I don't care if he did it. Without a shred of evidence against him, was convicted. And I have a whole playlist on it, and there's other law tubers and stuff that have been covering that case as well. And when you get 10 attorneys on a panel and they all say the same thing, something's up, right? Attorneys are 100% were built to argue and to be contrarian. And you just won't find an attorney on LawTube anyways that's going to say that case was justified. But so that's the approach that I come to with every single case, including Karen Reed and including Turtleboy. I do have, I want to try to get to a couple of questions. If you have questions, throw them in. I will try to get to them if I spot them and see them. But making it a lot simple, curious as to the explanation as to why Aiden's theory explains why a decorated officer would beat a guy to death and leave him in the snow outside his house. Many, many, many reasons.
Yeah.
First and foremost, ego.
Is he asking me?
No, he's asking me curious to explain why your theory makes sense.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So to me, my other sort of thing is I love to look at people and why they do the things they do. And most of the time it's ego. But it was Corey that potentially did this, but it doesn't matter. It's 100%. It's an ego thing. It's a personal thing.
It's not
what's that?
That's not my theory.
That's my theory.
Oh, it's an accident.
Well, it could have been an accident.
No, it was a fight. And then something clearly went horribly wrong with the gash in the back of the head. And if you were in their position, tell me, what would you do in that? If there's a fight in the house and it goes horribly wrong and somebody's clearly dying, what do you do?
See, well, I don't want to be in that position. But the problem is that I know too much. They know too much. They know how the system works, and they know what they need to do in order to cover it up.
Especially if you're murder police like Brian Albert.
Especially if you're murder police, if you're a criminal defense attorney, you know how things can get twisted and go bad very, very, very quickly. So you take every step possible if you want to cover it up and pin it on somebody else and make it look like somebody else did something.
Right. Now, and so how are you going to do this? What's the best option?
Dump him in the snow and he never came in.
Right. And where are you going to dump him?
Well, right there where his girlfriend dropped him.
Wherever you last saw Karen, right?
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, it's the most logical thing they could have done.
And the other thing is that it might not have been their original intent to pin it on Karen. Hey, some hobo was walking by and beat him up. Whatever, it was just that's where Karen dropped him off, and we never saw him come in the house.
Or they figured maybe Karen, if it's a horrible accident, she's got no priors, she's not going to do jail time, and it's a better alternative than Brian Albert, who has this prestigious career, ending up with life in prison. I mean, that's a better alternative in their mind.
So we got a super chat here for $1.99. Thank you very much, Sergeant Bucky. I don't know what that is. Bucky doesn't like you. Why? I'm assuming that's for you because I don't know who Sergeant Bucky is.
Sergeant Bukaki. So Bukaki is Michael.
Much better.
Yeah. So he doesn't like me very much. I've confronted him a couple times in court. He's not one of the 8 that has an order on me. I'm not intimidating him. His underling. I don't even know if I can say his name because he might get scared. But the lead detective's boss is Bukaki. So
I have, you have a rule about being civil. I don't have a rule about being civil in my chat. I have 2 rules for my chat. No personal attacks against anyone in chat. No personal attacks against anyone on the panel except me, because I don't give a fuck. Other than that, say what you want, debate. It's free speech. I just, don't call someone, you're a fat fucking liar, blah, 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 in chat, because that gets you nowhere. That's my only rules. But I do have a question for you, though. I want to know how you got involved with this, because the goal of this stream is I wanted to explore your situation, not so much Karen Reed.
Okay.
That's setting up the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to know why this case resonated with you. Were you on YouTube and were you blogging before?
So I'm not, you kind of introduced me as a YouTuber. That's not what I am. This was supplemental to my work. I'm a journalist. So I run a website, a publication called tbdailynews.com, turtleboydailynews.com. I've been doing it for 10 years. I was a high school history teacher prior to this. I started this as a hobby and it just kind of took off, and I've been doing it full time. It's my livelihood for about 10 years. And I've been writing about I've done a lot of major news stories in this region. Like if you're from Massachusetts, you know what I've done, like the Monica Cannon Grant story. There was another state police scandal I had in 2017. There's been a number of big stories that I've done. And so I already had a large following of I would get about 1.5, 2 million page views a month on my website. The YouTube is just supplemental to it. It was where I would go and I would talk about my stories.
Okay.
But the Karen Reed story has changed that. The Karen Reed story is by far the biggest story I've ever done. And as a result, my YouTube, I used to get about 300 people live on each episode. Now it's 3,000 like live, like it increased tenfold as a result of this. So it is dramatic. And a lot of people have said that, you're doing this for clicks. It's like, no, I'm doing it because it's a great story and it happens to be intriguing. And so people are drawn to it. I can't help that. My audience grows as a result of that.
I have that same issue, except it's not as, throw a few more zeros behind there and make it interesting. So then what brought you said you remember when the original story happened,
yep.
But all of a sudden at some point you started talking about this. Now the complaint against you, or the statement of facts against you, if I want to say that, says that you started doing this in like May of 2022.
April 17th, 2023 is when I began writing the story. I finished at about 3:30 in the morning on April 18th of 2023. Okay. It got over 500,000 page views on the first blog that I did just on this, the first publication that I did on this. And then it just kind of taken off from there. So what caught my attention on this is that I saw a blurb on our local NBC affiliate, something about a Google search in the Karen Reed case. And so I clicked on it and I'm like, let's check this out. And then some other people said, you got to read the case filings on this. And so I looked into it. And when I saw the headline, it said that someone in the house behind me named Jennifer McCabe, she Googled that. Remember, the story of everyone in the house is John never came in. We don't know what happened to John. So right. It must have been Karen. So when it became public that she deleted a Google search at 2:27 for how long to die in cold. Now, why would you search for how long to die in cold if you thought that no one was dying in the cold? If you thought John is just home, the only reason to Google that is you want to know how long it's going to take for John to die when you put him outside, because he was not outside at 2:27 a.m. He was still inside.
The interesting thing is that people have been convicted for so much less than a right on the nose kind of Google search.
Not just convicted. She is not a suspect. She is considered she is the star witness for the prosecution in this. And she's one of the 8 people who now has a stay away order on me, which is being done in order to try to suppress my right to report on her. Like even saying her name right now makes me feel uncomfortable, because they're watching this. The police are watching this stream right now. They're waiting for me to say something that they can argue crosses that line, because that's automatic 90 days in jail. I say the wrong thing, 90 days in jail, no questions asked.
And on that note, if I do ask you something that you are uncomfortable answering, please just let me know and we will move on, because I don't want to get you into any sort of trouble. I just really wanted to kind of know what to the extent you can talk about it, what your side of the story is really. And again, your case is, I I don't know if I want to say more interesting. I'm appalled at what I see going on with Karen Reed. But then to go after someone who's, in my opinion, is reporting this.
Yeah,
it's
crossing, and it's a crossing. It's just when you thought the story couldn't get any crazier, they go and arrest the guy who's reporting on it louder than anyone is the reason that it has so much attention. So, I obviously this caught on, and I go into every story objective. Like I want to hear both sides. But the evidence in this one is just overwhelming. It's just like, oh no, you cannot make a case that Karen Reed did this that makes any sense whatsoever. But yet the state, who we're supposed to trust, right? Like you're supposed to trust that the district attorney's office is somewhat ethical, is somewhat honest, and they're still pushing forward. And for the first time, I'm a statist. I'm a guy who trusted institutions. I no longer do as a result of this, because it's quite obvious that they're willing to put someone in a box for the rest of her life and to protect people who clearly did something very horrible in order to just maintain, like, so that their friends don't go to jail. And the fact that they can sleep at night doing that sickens me. So I will not lie. I am completely subjective at this point. I'm a slave to the truth. And the truth of the matter is that Karen Reed is factually innocent. And so not only am I reporting on this, I'm also an activist. So we're leading protests in town. We go to every court hearing. We have massive crowds of hundreds of people outside wearing free Karen Reed shirts. It's become a cultural movement up here of sorts. There are gigantic billboards all over Norfolk County that say free Karen Reed with a QR code to my video framed on YouTube, which just passed 100,000 views. And because of that, because I've been so effective at changing public opinion regarding the story, they liked it more when no one was paying attention 6 months ago. They don't like it now when there's people on the courthouse steps cheering on a criminal defendant in a murder trial. It's unheard of. And this is how they silence me.
Yeah, no. And what I was going to say is you have district attorneys there, right? So the district attorney or the prosecutor in Michigan or wherever the hell you are, they're supposed to be truth seekers,
right?
But they're not. They are little mini politicians, and they want they work for the district attorney, the elected attorney, and they want to see those conviction rates come hell or high water. And they're never wrong. Even when cases get exonerated due to DNA and it's clear that they're wrong, they weren't wrong. They got the right guy. They just couldn't prove it. That's their position. And there's a fundamental flaw in that position. The state has an awesome power. They can throw people away for the rest of their lives, or they can execute them. That is an awesome power to have. And the final check on that power is the jury system. But the society that makes up the jury system is so screwed up right now, where people who are accused are automatically convicted in their minds, that we have a broken system. It's not because the system is bad, it's because of the people that are in the system. But at the end of the day, the jury is the final check. And it's going to take a huge fundamental shift in our society, I think, before we get this back on track. Because otherwise, we're still going to have prosecutions where the evidence is slim to none, where they turn a blind eye to potentially the actual wrongful actor. And then they charge people that are trying to find the truth, such as Turtleboy here.
And they don't seem to care how it looks. I mean, just to show you how arrogant these people are, the optics of this is horrible. Even if you don't like me, even if you find me personally offensive, you look at this and it's like the headline, you locked up the guy who's reporting on this and he's looking at 120 years in prison. What a horrible look. And they just don't care. They just don't care about how it looks. That's how arrogant they are. Yes. And evil. I would say evil. This is what evil looks like. The people that are pushing, like the district attorney's office and the state police, are much worse than whoever killed John O'Keefe. People kill people all the time. Okay. Something horrible happened, that doesn't, like, it was a horrible thing to do, but it happened in the moment. It happened in drunkenness. Like, you did something you regret. Whereas the district attorney's office and the state police, while sober for the last 18 months, are knowingly trying to lynch. And that's what this is. This is a lynching, a state-sanctioned lynching. They are trying to lynch a woman who they know as a fact is innocent. And that's evil.
I have a lot of listeners that never heard of you or, aren't really familiar with the Karen Reed case. I did put a link in my description for a video, summary video, 30-minute summary video that you played. But I want to give them a flavor of that. I have sort of the introduction of you and what this case is all about. And then if you're cool with it, I want to kind of pull up some of the allegations against you. And I did do a comparison with the videos going forward. But there was one that I couldn't find, and maybe we'll get to it. There's been some videos, I'll say, that seem to have been scrubbed from the internet. Not on your channel, but on others that I really tried to track down, and I can't seem to find them. So maybe that's a topic for another day. But anyway, so this is
Turtleboy Daily News. I've been investigating the death of John O'Keefe from Canton, Massachusetts. His girlfriend, Karen Reed, is charged with his murder.
Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
That's the view it would have gotten.
But is there something more going on here? Is Karen Reed the victim of a massive cover-up? During my investigation, I have uncovered a town full of corruption. Here's what I believe happened, and why I believe Karen Reed was framed.
Don't you want to ask some questions? I know you do.
I do. I have
know
been.
you do.
I have been.
You think that you could outsmart Karen Reed? Did you?
It's how can you wear those buttons when you covered up his murder? Any comment on that? Why you Googled that at 227?
all right. So that's your little introductory, and I liked it because it gave you sort of a glimpse of the coverage that you've been doing here. And I guess my one of my first questions after that video for you is, do you think that you're stepping over a line when you are approaching people or walking up to their door or anything like that?
No, media's been doing that for generations. I mean, this is nothing new. We have this woman, something Hank. Like, I'm sure wherever you're from, you have like a local investigative news person who goes up and knocks on the door about, excuse me, sir, is the reason you owe $60,000 in taxes, but you bought a new boat? Like, that's been going on since the beginning of the media. That's how journalists are supposed to do their job, is go up to the sources and ask them questions, see if they have answers for you. And I've learned a lot by doing that through their silence, because innocent people with nothing to hide are happy to talk about it. They're happy to explain things away. Like, why did you Google how long to die in cold? Like, was it a Jeopardy question? Like, why did you do that? Is there an answer to that question? And the fact that they can't answer it only further, makes them look guilty in the eyes of the public. That's the job of the Fourth Estate, is to ask these questions, because reporters today often have been trained to just literally regurgitate police reports and press conference, from the district attorney's office, which is just statism. That's fat. Like, that's them feeding you a narrative and you eating it up. But that's not, what if they're lying to you? What if they're not being honest to you? And that's what reporters are supposed to do traditionally.
Well, and that's what they did for years. Were you going to say something, Valhalla? Oh, that's okay. I thought you were going to say something.
I was gonna, but I totally lost my train of thought real quick. Got distracted.
No worries. And I will say that I have a healthy skepticism of anything that the police say ever, and the way they twist things. If your cell phone is not active, you're either getting murdered or murdering someone. That's the way the police, sort of see that. Oh, nobody sets their cell phones down now unless they're dead or, out doing wrongful things. And so it's just all around. It's like, well, wait a minute. There's a lot of reasons to have your cell phone put down, for example. But so you've been accused of soliciting videos or encouraging some of your followers to go out and harass these witnesses, right? Video them and things like that. Have you ever asked anyone to do that?
Not once ever. And as a matter of fact, the exact opposite happened. For instance, one of the things that they've put in the charging documents is, I said something to the effect of, there was a woman that went down to Chris Albert's, that went to the Waterfall Bar. During the middle of the day, she's wearing a free Karen Reed shirt, right? She sees Chris Albert down there and takes a picture of him. He notices it's happening and he calls her out on it. And they got in an argument, and that argument goes into the parking lot. I believe you said on your stream the other day it was on his property. That was outside the bar in a parking lot.
Yeah, I'm more informed now.
Right. And so they get in a whole argument. And the whole thing is hilarious to me.
I've got
because-
that actually up. That was going to be I think it's one of my first ones that I was going to play for you. But no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
but...
no. So they get in an argument, and then I watch this. This is happening completely independent of me. I have no control over the millions of people who have, who are now part of the Free Karen Read movement. So, and I don't encourage them. I just do the reporting. Whatever you choose to do, I certainly don't encourage violence, but I'm not your mommy. And if you do something illegal, that's on you. So the woman goes down there, and the two of them get in an argument, and she films it, and it gets posted online. I'd never met this woman. I'd never talked to her before. And so I play it on my show because it's hilarious and it's germane to the topic that I've been covering for the last several months. And I make comments to Chris, and I say, I made comments that were basically saying, if I were you, I would keep a low profile. I can't control these. I go, I don't want them to do it. I certainly don't want you, but what do you want me to do? I can't stop these people. So if I were you, I would lay low. And of course they get rid of the part where you say the part where you're like, no, I'm not encouraging this. I'm not telling you what to do. They get rid of that part and they make it seem like, oh, if I were you, I wouldn't go out, Chris. And how about that? Let's talk about this one. This is a good one.
Yeah. So actually I thought that was going to be my first one, but it went in a different order. So, but yeah, we're going to get to that one. So on May 10th, 2023, you apparently put up episode 580. And that's where I grabbed this clip from. And you call Elizabeth, and it sounds
Elizabeth
kind
who?
of
Proctor.
Proctor, yeah,
the lead detective's wife.
Yeah, the lead detective's wife. You're calling Elizabeth Proctor. And so if you read through this, right, and you think, okay, so the lead detective on a criminal investigation's wife doesn't really have anything to do. Why would this asshole Turtleboy be calling this woman just to harass her and intimidate her and her husband, right? That's how this reads.
Right.
But let's take a look at the context a little bit here of what actually went down on stream 580.
And a spouse that doesn't get involved in shit, you should be left alone. But if you're the kind of woman that wants to jump in the ring and dance with the devil, then all the gloves are off, sister. And that's the kind of wife that Elizabeth Proctor is. She's a very proactive on social media kind of wife. Yeah. Calling people's jobs, like fucking insane, this woman. So we talked about her before because dating back to last September, whenever anyone would suggest that there was a conspiracy or that anybody besides Karen Read killed John O'Keefe, she would do a laughing emoji. She would see that laughing emoji. And Elizabeth Proctor was a woman burned at the stake. Okay, there we go, at the Salem Witch. All right.
I guess.
I didn't realize that. Here's another laughing emoji one she did.
So she's commenting on, I do want to point out,
she was
she's commenting
buzzed.
on, these are Court TV posts, and these are people that are commenting on Court TV posts, and she's laughing at them and basically trying to contradict them, right?
Right. She's like, that's a stupid theory. That
this isn't your post. This is Court TV.
Right.
She's clearly opening dialogue in an open forum.
But what does she do next? That's even worse.
Yeah.
A Turtle Rider contacts me. I forget when they contacted me, but they told me that their workplace was contacted by someone, and it came up on. He said that like they work in an office, and this is a person who regularly comments on the page and is critical of Michael Proctor and is supportive of Karen Read and of our journalism. And they get a call. It came up on the caller ID, Michael Proctor. And then it stopped ringing after like a ring or two because they must have realized, oh, shit, I forgot to star 67. So they wait a little bit and then they call back. But this is not one of those offices where the phone is ringing off the hook. So you're going to notice a phone call. Like, okay, we don't get a lot of 2 phone calls in one day. Whoa, busy day. And the second time they called, it was clearly from the same person, but it was a blocked number this time. First time it said Michael Proctor. Second time blocked number. And that blocked number says that the individual who commented on the Turtleboy page is dangerous and should be fired. There was a woman's voice. I'm going to call them up and try to get you fired, your employer up.
Yeah. So apparently she's calling up the employers of people that comment on court TV or whatever and try to get them fired. That's how she involves herself. I started this. And so how is she a witness? Well, the statute actually applies to witnesses, investigators, or family thereof.
Mm-hmm.
So since she's a spouse, the statute does technically apply to her. But then so this is what you're actually being
we know
accused
it's her
of, is calling her.
because
I do block numbers and stuff like that.
This woman is like being aggressive. She's a bully. I mean, she's bullying people, like trying to censor their speech if they are critical of her husband's complete mishandling of this case and his involvement in it. And this is how, I mean, that's cancel culture. That prevents people. The goal of that is to prevent people from speaking out. Ultimately, you don't want to lose your job. And so this is bullying. She was being a bully, and I find out about it. So let's call you up. And do you have any, like, can you answer our questions about this? That's what happened.
Hello?
Hi, this call's recorded. Is this Elizabeth Proctor?
Yes.
Hi, Elizabeth. My name is Eden Carney from Turtleboy. I'm calling to see, are you calling people's work?
That was kind of good. I like that.
Two-party consent state. You got to let them know. I can't believe she even said yes. As soon as they said this call is recorded, she keeps talking.
She clearly
right.
lost service, gentlemen. She clearly lost service.
Okay, I'm gonna call her right now.
And so that was the day before you recorded it. Now you're. Oh yeah, sorry. I do block out the numbers on my stream, but So that was a recording that you made like the day prior, and during your live stream, now you're calling her again, right?
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And you got to leave her a message.
Yeah, because I don't think she's gonna pick up this time. Now that she knows my number.
You don't call with blocked numbers?
No, I don't care.
How
I don't
dare
give a
you?
shit. Yeah, I'm not like these people. I don't care. I don't hide.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 6-1. Not available. At the tone.
So now I have the side-by-side script of what was in your indictment, or the facts that are alleged in your charges compared to the phone call.
Let's read it.
Finished recording. You may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Elizabeth. This is Eden Carney calling you back from Turtleboy. We briefly spoke yesterday on the phone. I introduced myself to you, and then you hung up on me, or maybe it was a bad connection. But I just wanted to see how your day at work went today, if it went well. I noticed that your employer took down their social media pages within minutes of the blog I published about your recent behavior. And I just wanted to see, is it awkward? Were you afraid to go in? Just tell me about your day and why. Because that's the part I don't understand, is that you seem to be okay with calling other people's workplaces and interfering with their ability to make a living for themselves. But when it happens to you, maybe it's not as fun. Maybe it's not as fun. Do you like that? That's what I want to know. Did you like that? Like, because you've been doing that to a lot of other people. And do you think it's fair that it happened to you, dear? Do you regret it? That's another. Do you regret it? And what's your scumbag husband up to right now? Are you going to visit him in prison? Do you think they'll have conjugal visits? Give me a call back when you get this, and we could chat some more. Bye, girl.
So
I just have some questions. I'm a journalist asking questions. I'm just wondering, it's
a little condescending. It's a little.
It's no crime.
Well,
it's not. Being offensive isn't a crime, y'all.
Yeah.
Well, it's not illegal to be an asshole. That is for sure. So Mark C says here, as a defense attorney, I can tell you the phone calls definitely meet the element of witness intimidation, whether you agree with the statute or not. The appellate court has affirmed convictions.
I'm sure he's a real attorney, whoever Mark C is. Sure thing, Mark. Don't hire that guy.
Well, anyway, so but it does lead to like a fundamental question that you're not going to be able to answer, and probably nobody here on the panel can. But why is it that if they were calling you, right, or if they're harassing you, or if you're, state agents or whatever, or just the general news following, the guy who owes $60,000 in back taxes and just bought a new boat, why is that okay? But the spouse of a witness or the spouse of an investigator gets special privileges?
Not just the spouse of a witness or investigator, a woman who is going after people and trying to cost them their livelihood, their ability to feed their families, for having the audacity to have negative opinions about her husband, who is quite clearly corrupt.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of issues with him because he's now the lead investigator. However, I think we have another phone call coming up, which might have some problems for him.
For Michael or me?
No, not for you.
Okay.
For Proctor, Trooper Proctor. So this is your phone call to Trooper Proctor, and it was a little too big to fit on there so we could see it all.
They provided her cell phone. Chris Albert stated his cell phone number. Oh, well, let's call it. I don't think we've ever called that before. We're going to call that. Let me know if we get static. We're calling that right now.
Oh, wait.
Time out. Hang on. I don't know what the background is there. But so basically, we went through Jennifer McCabe's call log. So Jennifer McCabe's call log is entered into evidence. Anyone can read it. So all those numbers right there, all of those numbers are public, and you've blacked them out, and that's fine. But I'm under no obligation to, because it's public record at this point. Anyone can go on there and see those. So I'm curious, who was Jennifer? And look at all the ones that say deleted, the ones on the right that say deleted. Those are the ones I'm really interested in. So on a show one time, I just went down the line and I called every person who Jennifer McCabe called that morning. And I wanted to see what this, as luck would have it, one of them is Michael Proctor, who she claims not to know. Yet is somehow she called him in the morning.
He called her, right?
He called her. Yeah.
He called her. She didn't call him. He called her that morning.
Yeah. But they don't know each other. They don't know each other.
They don't know each other. Well, apparently there's also maybe some photographs that say otherwise as well.
Yeah.
But this is the phone call that was specifically mentioned.
533, 552, and 557.
Hang
on. Because at 6:07, so she talks to 911. Calls Brian Albert at 6:23.
I got to
Then
I got to speed up a touch.
Oh.
What are you doing?
The problem that I have with this case, while you're looking for that, with your charges especially, is
the
simply
Canton Police Department.
Sorry, go ahead.
I didn't hear what you said. I apologize.
Oh no! I was just I was playing the video and it started playing.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
The problem I've had with this is who gets to draw the line between questions from the media and questions from a guy on YouTube, right? So like the network media is clearly able to ask whatever questions they want of whoever, and they're criminally charging you for asking these same questions or what should be these same questions.
But I am a member of the media. I'm a credential. Like in this, you know what? I'm not just saying that. This same court, Stoughton District Court, Jennifer McCabe applied for a harassment prevention order against me in June using these same arguments. The judge told her he is a member of the press. He has every right to ask you questions. So it's already been litigated in this courtroom that not only am I a member of the press, but that my actions do not constitute harassment.
When was that addressed?
That was addressed on June 1st when she applied for a harassment prevention order against me.
Oh, that was like the day before? Or no, that was earlier in June.
That was months ago. She applied for the harassment prevention order against me. And then after that, she started sending me naked pictures. She sent me naked. She got drunk one night. Yeah, she sent me naked pictures of another man. And I want to say late. She must have been really hitting the sauce late one night. And she sent me pictures of a naked man. And next thing, I woke up in the morning and I'm like, Jen, what was that all about? And then she blocked me. She must have sobered up and blocked me. So she's really scared. Right. She's really scared. Okay.
Oh,
if any, witnesses in a criminal investigation want to send me photos.
Right.
All right. So I think I found the spot here where you end up calling Trooper Peter or whatever the hell his name is.
for 1:44, then again for 1:27. Then they chat for 15 minutes at 10:40 a.m. Now we know at this point Jennifer McCabe is still inside 34 Fairview Road, still inside. Then she gets a call at 10:55 from someone who she speaks to for 1 minute.
So she gets a call
seconds
while she's still
and
inside
it's
the house.
incoming. She's still in the house. So I guess you know what we need to do. Let's give this
He's
person a call,
pronounced
find out
dead
who the hell
7
this
or
is.
3 hours before, maybe two and a
Not
half
in her
hours before
phone.
at the house.
Her
That's
guess
right.
is as good as mine.
Hi, you reached Trooper Michael Proctor with the Norfolk County DA's
It's
office.
Proctor.
Please use your name.
He
It's
gets so
Proctor.
excited.
It's
didn't know it
fucking
was him.
Proctor.
As soon as possible. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Trooper Proctor. This is award-winning journalist Aiden Carney calling. I'm calling to talk to you. I do have some questions about you. I have a lot of questions, actually. For starters, why didn't you tell anyone before doing the investigation that you were good friends with the Albert family? Why did you, in your report, say that you were introduced to Chris Albert on February 10th when you had known him for more than a decade prior to that? Why did you lie about what time you towed Karen Reed's car? Why did you intentionally misspell the names of several key witnesses in your report?
I actually have a question about that. Whose names did he misspell?
So there was 5 women that were young women that were like in their 20s that were in the house earlier in the night. We don't know if they were there when John got there, but all of their names were intentionally misspelled. Every single one. And they were well-known people
Like
in town.
how bad misspelled? Like are
so
we changing A's for E's or?
they're adding letters, and basically they're making it so if you look these names up, like the way they're spelled in their report, their real Googles will not come up. So, for instance, there's a woman by the name of Sarah Levinson who was there the whole night. He took the H out of her last name. When you Google Sarah Levinson with an A without an H at the end, it gives you a completely different Google. And so what he's trying to do here is misspell the names because he just wants to make sure none of these people that this doesn't follow them around.
Okay. And real quick, while we stop this, Nicholas Star of Trial Watch, another great YouTuber, with the $100 Swedish krona super chat. Freedom of the press is literally the press, or the printing press, the right of a person reporting through a medium that can be viewed and listened to. It is not the freedom of specific degree or employment. I agree 100%. That is the status of the law, at least in the United States. Hopefully, it is in Sweden too. Thank you, Nick, for the super chat. So, all right. So you have legitimate questions. Then we go into,
and I'm just wondering about all of those things, and maybe you and I can meet up for coffee because boy, do I have a lot of questions for you. When you were inside Fairview Road that night, that morning rather, why did you stay there for 4.5 hours? And what did you guys talk about and do? And why were you descending stairs with John O'Keefe's phone in your pocket? So give me a call back, man. I feel like you and I have a lot of catching up to do. I talk about you a lot. I feel like I know you pretty well at this point. I know which year you graduated from the academy. I know you were out in West Brookfield for a while. I know some people that you know. So give me a call back when you get this. Now that I have your number, and everybody watching also has your phone number, which again is.
Sorry, that was a lot louder than I was in my headphones.
I'd like to know. Oh, she called you again. You called her at 12:49, and we're gonna get to that. So now that I have your number, I'm gonna plug you in, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Okay, so what? Did he ever call you back? By the way,
He never called me back, sadly.
You tried.
But it's like, what is that controversial? I guess. But the appropriate remedy for that, legally, if you feel like you have been done wrong there legally, is to apply for a 250-80 harassment prevention order. Of course, it would be denied because it does not fit the statute, which requires 3 or more instances of unwanted contact designed to put you in fear that does in fact actually put you in fear. So he couldn't go that route. Instead, he allows the state comes to his defense and files bogus witness intimidation charges because this man is apparently I mean, I'm not trying to coerce it. Like, where is the part where I try to coerce his testimony, where I try to obstruct justice? Where is that part?
Well, I mean, it's vague, but can we make an argument that it's implied? I know where you went to school. I know where you live. I know your phone number. All this stuff is it possible that there's an implication there?
No, what I was trying to say was that we have common friends. Him and I are the same age. We graduated the same year. I have friends that went to the academy with him who know him. West Brookfield is a town a couple towns away from where I live. That was the barracks he was at. I had friends who worked in that barracks. And so that was my way of being collegial with him.
I will say I've watched a lot of your videos over the last couple of days. And if I was to sum it up in a couple of words, I would say smartass, but yes, I like it.
Fair.
So, but again, smartass is not the same as
felon,
intimidation. As felon, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, if you watch the videos, like I'm trying to pull out the segments that they're specifically referencing in the indictment and trying to show how they're different or put them in the context. But even if you watch the entire videos, they're not harassing. They're smart alecky, right? You know,
certainly, yeah.
But who isn't? Daddy smartass. I like that.
Well, how many phone calls did you make to each of these people? Was it
one?
Countless?
One.
No. So it wasn't repeated. It wasn't over and over and over again. You didn't.
No, because I know the rules. I know the statute. You can't do 3. That's the magic number. And I'm not. I know the line that you can cross and the line that you can't cross. And
in Michigan, it's 2, by the way, people.
Oh, is it 2?
2
okay,
unwanted phone calls.
So I'm very careful in that regard. And I call him once. I leave a message. I couldn't believe it was him. I'm like, holy shit, I got his phone. Because I was cold calling those. I just went right down the line. Let's call this one. And when I heard Michael Proctor on the voicemail, I'm like, oh my God. Like, you saw my reaction. That was an authentic reaction. I'm like,
sounded pretty authentic.
Yeah. You had no clue. I could tell. Plus, I would imagine if you
sometimes you get a good call. So people are in the comments saying the Jill Daniels call. So Jill Daniels is the sister-in-law of Chris Albert, and boy, is she fun. We cold called her one time during the show, and she must have been shit-faced because she kept calling me, oh, it's Turtleboy. She goes, oh, you fucking turtle douche. You're a turtle. Why do you call yourself a fucking turtle? Why do you say where's your awards if you're an award-winning journalist? And then she starts screaming at me, and she came this close to putting her nephew Colin in the house. She goes, and Colin was in the house, but when John, and then she stopped herself because she was about to sell. Colin was in the house when John got there, which would have been game over. But so sometimes those calls, you get a good one, and I give it a shot, and it's entertaining when they actually when they actually want to converse with you.
What's funny is I feel like the way she responded, and I have no idea what episode that is or anything, because again, it's not in the indictment, but that's kind of like how I would respond. Like I would get excited. Like people sometimes put, whatever trolley sort of comments and stuff I pull it up. I love it. I tweet it out, or people that say that I'm not a real attorney, whatever. I love that sort of stuff. And I respond happily with those sort of things. So I feel like that's how I would respond, but not everyone's as cool as the 4 of us here.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably get that tape if you want it. I mean, I could find it. It was my highest viewed episode ever because of the Jill Daniels call. It was like legendary. So for every 10 calls where they don't answer, you get lucky. So like, it's not just me harassing them. It's me seeing like, it's just trying to be like, does anybody want to talk? Maybe somebody wants to talk. And then Jill Daniels wanted to talk. And she, like, people debate whether or not she has a crush on me. And they actually bring this up on the show because I'm like, they bring this up in the charging documents. I made a comment that said, I'm trying to send your nephew to prison. And she still kind of flirts with me a little bit. It's weird. Like she likes the attention. Like when I protest outside of the pizza shop that Chris Albert owns, she drove by, rolled her window down and was like, hi, Turtleboy. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Jill Daniels. And she talked to me in traffic, held up traffic, and had a 3-minute conversation with me about whether or not Colin was inside the house.
Nice. See, that's the way people should be responding.
It's just funny. It's just like, it's comedy. This isn't, I'm not like, I'm in,
it
like,
really is funny.
They make it sound like I'm like trying to scare you and all this shit. I'm like, dude, it's just comedy. It's like news infused with comedy. That's all this is.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
makes
and
me
that's
laugh.
kind of what we do, and that's why when I first heard your story and I started looking at the your arraignment, is it called an arraignment? I don't
Yeah,
even
it was
know
an
what
arraignment. That was right.
Yeah, it
That
was
was
an arraignment.
arraignment. Yep.
Yeah, and I started watching that, and I was like, it kind of sounds like a lot of what we do, except I don't necessarily call people, although we've been talking about doing it. So I get one chance. That second one is problem, but I get one chance. But yeah, no, it's kind of the same thing that I always feel like we do here, and that's why it was so interesting. Your case in particular, I'm not a huge fan of anything going on with Karen Reed either, but your case sort of struck a chord with me, if you will. So this is interesting too. Now, this is the two parts that I have, because I think it's two parts, where you go to Canton, and these again were specifically mentioned, and there's literally there's 70 pages to this factual indictment, and a lot of it's repetitive, but there's a lot I just couldn't get to in time for the stream, so I'm pulling out the ones that I thought were kind of most interesting, and I actually just kind of went in order. Oh yeah, I just called courts. I did call the court once during a trial. That's for another day.
That only happened twice.
Well, okay, all right. So I called the court once. All right, so we were watching this trial, and it was a child killing, and it was pretty bad. But the child had a Baby Yoda shirt on, and I kept mentioning a Baby Yoda shirt, Baby Yoda shirt, Baby Yoda shirt. And then the day that they were introducing the exhibits of the shirt, the prosecutor had a Baby Yoda pin on his tie. And so I felt like I had to call the court and just say, hey, I'm watching it. I'm an attorney. I don't like what's going on. And the judge ended up telling him to take the pin off. So that was good. The second time, I might have accidentally called the court. Unrelated.
And
So now
by the
we're
way,
going to go to third.
I sent
So-
the Jill Daniels tape in the private chat, queued up at the 51-minute mark if you want to hear it, because it's fucking
Oh, yeah, yeah.
hilarious. Oh,
Outstanding.
it is so funny. It's so funny.
Outstanding.
I'll get it queued
Yeah.
up while we're
Yeah.
playing this.
31 Fairview Road. Knocked on this door. Another one that would have. So there's 33 34 Fairview.
Again, look at this. Like, the body was right freaking there. John's
Yeah, and
body
so-
was right here.
Who?
And Karen had allegedly left him there to
Nobody. I mean, again, you're an investigative reporter. A lot of reporters go to the scene of the crime, right, to do these investigations. And obviously, you're walking around and you're looking for possible door camera videos and things like that, right? And whatever, you're just
yeah.
you're just
I'm
looking
seeing
around.
what the ring can, because both houses across the street have rings, and so I want to see the position of what those ring cameras would have viewed. They would have gotten everything. So that's what I'm doing.
here.
An hour before, so there couldn't have been much snow on him at that point. There is no
Yeah, the whole
fucking
how
way.
much snow was covered,
A
and
car,
the
2 With inches. 4 people in it.
yeah, and
Do
the
not
snowplow
notice
guy
a
and all of that.
body
Nothing
ring.
makes sense. He changed the
Stop
story conveniently.
Who? Stop it.
The snowplow guy.
No, he didn't.
He didn't change the story.
He is his. So what the snowplow guy is the shadiest part. So somebody plowed that road, and if they did, they would have noticed that there was no body on
Right.
right next to the curb. So Michael Proctor in his report put that Fairview Road was never plowed. That the town of Canton doesn't get Fairview Road. They have an outside contractor that does it. That enables him to never speak with the plow driver. So since I'm a journalist looking for answers, I find the plow driver. His name is Lucky Loughran. I track him down, I get his phone number, and I called him on August 7th. And him and I had a conversation in which he told me that he went by the house at 2:30 a.m. and there was no body on the front lawn, and that he would have seen a body had there been a body there. It would have been impossible to miss. He also told me that he came back at 3 a.m. and there was a Ford Edge parked directly next to that flagpole where John's body would be discovered 3 hours later. So just to review, 2:30, no body, which means Karen Reed couldn't have killed him because Karen Reed left much earlier. No body at 2:30. 3 o'clock, Ford Edge. 6 o'clock, body. So whoever was driving that Ford Edge would be the prime suspect in the murder or have information that police would want to know about.
This conversation recorded.
What was that? It was
The
transcribed. I wrote the entire thing out. I have a photographic memory.
And
Yeah. And he doesn't deny it either. So he has now repeated this story to me The FBI picked him up because the FBI is investigating the Massachusetts State Police and the District Attorney's Office. They have convened a grand jury into this. There will be indictments. So he has told the FBI that. He told Karen Reed's private investigator that. And 2 days after I wrote my story, Michael Proctor sees the words FBI in my interview and he shits his pants. So he goes down and he interviews Lucky Loughran, who tells him for the fourth time the exact same story about nobody at 2:30, Fort Edge at 3:00. And you would think a dead cop of Fort Edge, there would be an all points bulletin out now. Let's find the driver of that Fort Edge because they killed the cop. They have done nothing. And that's why when you see me get out of the car when I'm being arraigned during my perp walk, I got 15 seconds to say something. I yelled out, you guys ever find out who's driving that Fort Edge? Anyone know who's driving that Fort Edge at because
I didn't know the context of that.
Right,
I did hear that.
Right. And it sparks conversation because I want to talk about the Fort Edge because you have spent clearly the last 2 months watching hundreds of hours of my YouTube show to, indict me for witness intimidation. Have you looked into the Fort Edge? That seems kind of important because there's a dead cop and they've done nothing. That's how you know these guys are corrupt. They are protecting the people who murdered John O'Keefe, and now they're protecting them even more by getting orders against me that prevent me from interviewing them and talking about them.
So 2 questions there. Are you prevented? I know the state asked that you not be able to talk about them, but I don't think that was ordered. You were just ordered not to contact them, right?
I was, but things can get tricky. If I say the wrong thing on here and I phrase it the wrong way and they interpret that as me talking to them instead of talking about them, that's why I'll say words like he instead of your, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking to them. I'm talking about them. And they want to they cannot wait to lock me up. So I have to be very careful. Now I had a lawyer about an hour ago. I officially hired a lawyer. And so my lawyer is going down to the courthouse tomorrow and we are filing motions immediately. First thing we're doing is to modify the conditions of bail because I need to be able to do my job, and that's report the news. I need to be able to talk about this. So the stay away orders either need to disappear or be modified because the judge's language in court was that he said it was, quote, overly broad on purpose. That might hopefully will be beneficial to us because you can't say that as a judge. Overly broad on purpose, aka we're just making it general so we can get you on anything. So that
the general rule is from a constitutional standpoint that if a statute is overly broad and it interferes with your constitutionally protected rights, such as your First Amendment right, then it is void. And the same applies with court rulings and things like that. So for it to be overly broad basically is indicating that it is voidable. You're going to have to make the motion. Speaking of FBI, is there a Jennifer or Jessica Codenfinger or something or other?
Coffendafer? Oh, God.
Copper Digger? I don't know what her name is.
You must not be on Twitter. Stay away. Oh, you are on Twitter.
I am on Twitter, but I don't do Twitter well. So
neither does she. Except she has 75,000 followers and she's on court TV all the time. She's this alleged expert. She's a former FBI agent. They bring her on and she acts like she knows anything. Dumbest person ever. And I don't mean to name call, but some of the things this woman says are just brain dead. She said that the blood is not DNA. She's got a number of hits. And she is we did a public records request with the district attorney's office for all emails with the name Coffendafer in them. And as it turns out, we have proven that Coffendafer has been acting as the official PR spokesperson for the district attorney's office for almost 2 months now. They feed her what to say, and she amplifies the message to 75,000 people on Twitter while they attempted to gag the defense. So they literally have no support in the media. Nobody likes them because the facts don't help them out. So they need someone with a large platform who will blindly repeat their lies. And they found it in Jennifer Coffendafer.
Oh my God, that name. I would change it. I would just change it.
And get a haircut. She got the bangs are no good. No.
Okay. So she is the mouthpiece for the state. Are you the mouthpiece for the defense?
I think I'm the mouthpiece for truth and justice and common sense.
Okay.
which happens to be on the side of the defense.
So you don't work for the defense, right?
Absolutely not. I'm owned by no one.
Okay. And, you said you've been doing this for a while. Like I've been covering trials for a while, and my default is everyone's innocent unless the state bends over backwards to prove them guilty. But there's trials I watch. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy clearly did it. Letitia Stout clearly did it. Things like that. So do you have, like, if we were to dig back into your blogs and things like that, you're not a whacked out conspiracy theorist.
Oh,
you're
no.
fair and balanced.
I'm a law and order guy. You go back to 2020 during the Black Lives Matter riots. Like, I'm clearly on the side of the police. I'm clearly on the side. We said, with thin blue line, all that stuff. This was a pro, I want to say almost pro establishment blog, but not all the time. But like, we trust institutions. This story has changed my worldview completely. I thought this was only in movies. I had no idea that in my own state, the place where I grew up and lived my own, that an institution that we put our faith and trust in, like the state police and the district attorney's office, would do this to an innocent person and protect guilty people.
And Flux always coming in with the right thing to say. Don't trust the government. Yeah, I mean, that's the bottom line. There's a reason why we don't talk to police, and why the only bit of legal advice that I'll ever give out on YouTube is don't ever talk to anyone about anything ever, because that's the only way to make sure that the government doesn't have anything on you that they can use against you, right? I mean, they'll make up stuff, but don't give them anything. And so, yeah, you could just never, ever, ever trust the government. Let's see. All right, I'm going to pull this up. What?
It's fucking ridiculous.
I hate how it starts right away, but here
ridiculous.
We go.
So, anyway.
Oh, and somebody asked about the placement or where the body was located and thought it was to the right. My understanding is between the telephone box and the flagpole, right?
That's right. That's right. Yep. Before the mulch.
All right. So before the mulch, like if a plow truck went by, would have been covered with snow, kind of before.
There was only 2 inches at 230. I mean, there was less than an inch at 230. So it was like the first one through.
Okay.
So it would not go. And he's big. He's 217 pounds.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Again.
So now you're walking, you're checking out the scene of the crime.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right where the
now, whose house is that to the right?
That was
neighbor.
Yeah, I didn't see which one you're talking. That's the 34 Fairview right there.
Okay. So that's
the scene.
So yeah, that's the scene. Yeah, John's body. We believe that John's body was dragged from the back through that fence, and that the Ford Edge provided cover for it, like blocked the like if anybody was looking, it would have blocked it and prevented a plow from coming down. And by the way, I forgot to point this out, 4 different members of the Albert family own Ford Edges: Colin, Kevin, Brian, and Tristan Morris, who is dating Caitlin Albert.
There's so many names.
Yeah, I know way too much about these people.
I will say, you watch It's Always Sunny?
Of course.
Okay, so Charlie looking for Pepe Sylvia.
I know I sound like that, right? With the
no. That's how I literally felt, trying to understand who was connected to who and how they're all intertwined and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I need a murder board behind me. Like,
it's funny you should mention that. It's funny you should mention that, because the police, when they raided my house, I had a flow chart somewhere. The police raided my house, so I got papers everywhere. But one night we did a stream where we just connected all the players in this, and it came out like the biggest fucking web you've ever seen of this person knows this person from here. And when the police came in my house, I mean, they've seen everything down here, and they've seen that, and I wonder what they thought when they saw that.
Yeah, no, literally, my notes are, here are the players: Karen Reed, defendant; John O'Keefe, decedent; Chris Albert, O'Keefe's neighbor in town, selectman, saw Karen and John at the bar earlier that day. Right, like I'm literally writing it out, trying to get it all organized in my mind.
Yeah,
and I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. This lawyer doesn't know or doesn't have a clue about any of this. I don't, honestly. I haven't been following the Karen Reed case. I heard about Turtleboy's indictment. That got me perked up in this. And so
and people should be patient. Like a lot of my followers, and I don't want to crap my followers, but like I think some people have to be more patient, that just understand, like, not everyone knows as well as us guys. And if we want more people to learn about it, it takes time. And so, like, relax, like they'll figure it out over time, you know? Like,
yeah, well, we're getting there. We're getting there.
You know,
actually, I invited the Broken Baker on because he's been covering it with Jamie on his channel a little bit, because he's been covering the pretrial hearings and stuff like that. And I really haven't been at all. We kind of like, I get focused on a case or something, and I just kind of focus on that. And I'm still a practicing attorney, so I have a good job.
Yeah. It's nice.
My own client's cases to worry about.
Held him up that far. And again, look, it's not a big lawn. Like Matt McCabe's standing in the window.
Like he always
looks outside, sees her car do a 3-point turn right there, and doesn't see anything.
No, the whole 3-point turn thing is weird.
And by the way, there's no longer. Can you pause it for 1 second?
Yep.
The 3-point turn theory that they've been saying in charging documents for the last 18 months, they just abandoned that recently because they realized if you did a 3-point turn, it would actually break the left taillight, not the right taillight. And so then their new theory is that she went 62 feet forward to the neighbor's house while John stood there. And then she went 24 miles an hour in reverse. And he just stood there and she ran him over and left. And not a single person heard it, saw it, nothing. And somehow he ended up on the grass.
And the only damage to the vehicle was a broken taillight.
Right. And he has no bruises. He has no on his chest, nothing, no broken bones. Just, the dog, I guess the Lexus comes with a set of teeth. Or a chainsaw. I don't know. But
it doesn't make sense. I mean, the 2 broken eyes, the multiple
lacerations.
Lacerations. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. To the back of the head.
He landed on grass, by the way. Like, how does the how do you get that on grass?
Well, didn't you say like there was she was backing up at like 27 miles per hour?
24. So I came down to the street about a month ago when they put this new theory forward, and I attempted to go 24 miles an hour in reverse.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, and do it in 62 feet. We measured the whole thing out. I got up to 14, and let me tell you, that's scary going 14. So I'm like, and I hit the freaking curb. And there's no snow or anything. I'm like, well, let's try it again. Got up to 17. Finally, I maxed out at 19, and I felt like I was going to die. There is no fucking way I could have gone a single mile an hour over 19, especially in the snow. Like you feel psychotic doing that. And no one heard it. No one heard it. No one saw it. Nothing happened. And there's Ring cameras on that house, and there's Ring cameras on the other house across the street. And
this is what I wanted to play, though, because this guy actually answers your question. I believe it's this guy.
No, he doesn't answer anything.
No, is it the next guy?
When I start driving, another guy answers my question. The only need to be scared of Brian.
All right. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. So this was about
frustrate him to no end to watch me, because I know Brian Albert's watching this right now, to watch me just emasculate his family time after time, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's just nothing you can do, and I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm just going to keep, like, this is not my last.
I know why I played all of this, because I wanted the context, because the allegation is this is not my last trip to Canton. I will be back. I'll be back. Get used to it. But you were more speaking. I mean, if I could go back and play the context, but I don't.
So no, this is really important, actually. This one. Who do you think I'm talking? Who are they making it look like I'm talking to when I said that about this is not my last trip to Canton?
Well, they're making it sound threatening. Like
to who? Threatening to who?
They're making it sound threatening to what's his name?
The Alberts and the McCabe's, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you play that tape, I go to the Canton DPW office and I'm looking for the Canton DPW director, and they're giving me the runaround about it. And I'm like, guys, you can't. They're like, oh, he's busy. You can't talk to him. And so I'm talking about them. I say, guys, I'll be back. I'll order Chinese and put up a tent. And so I'm not even talking about the people who need protection against me. I'm talking about the government employees who just don't feel like getting off their ass and getting the DPW director so I can ask about who plowed the road. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, this was a long one. And because it did go into that, and you were talking about, you went up to the DPW director and you said, I was looking for so-and-so, and she said it wasn't there. And then she took down your name, but knew your name already.
Are you still there?
Oh yeah, this is good. So this is not Fairview Road anymore. This, if you could just pause, I can explain the context because it's important. So Karen Reed allegedly hit John O'Keefe with her car and broke her taillight, right? That's the state's narrative. Yeah. So on the way home, the route she would have taken home, the 2.5-3 mile route home, there would have been so many cameras that would have gotten her with the broken taillight, right? Because she just broke her car. So I go to every house on the road with the Ring camera, and I knock on the door and I ask, did the state police come here and ask to look at your Ring cameras? And this is what happens.
I will say too that oftentimes, at least in my experience as a criminal defense attorney and watching a lot of trials as of late, the police will hone in on a suspect. They will gather the evidence that confirms their suspicion, and they will completely ignore and not even look for evidence that might exonerate them.
Bingo.
And it's not just Canton, Massachusetts. It's everywhere across this country.
But keep in mind, if their suspect is Karen Reed, right? Shouldn't they want video? Because if they get one video of her with the broken taillight, she's guilty. It's done.
Yeah, but they don't need that because they have all the other, they have the witnesses and stuff like that, and they think that that's going to be enough.
It's not. It's clear. Come on. Who are the witnesses? Who are the witnesses? Well, who
all
saw
the people in the house?
Did they witness her running him over? No,
but they're going to be able to make that. They're going to be able to make that argument, and because she's been charged, it's already an uphill battle.
If you want a conviction, and by the way, Michael Proctor investigated a similar case, a murder case, in June of 2023, and the first thing they did was go and get Ring cameras from every house on that street. It's police 101 now. The more evidence you have, the better. The stronger your case is to a jury if you're looking to improve your conviction rate. So why wouldn't you go to this house if you truly believe she did it and get Ring camera video showing that she has a broken taillight?
When you're done with all of this, I want to ask you to take a look at the Zachariah Anderson case.
Okay, I'm definitely going to.
We'll talk about that.
That's a gnarly case, man.
Yeah. And mind you, I streamed that because it was sold to me as a love triangle gone wrong, and oh my God, was it a injustice?
Okay, what is it you need to know now?
So I was just wondering, did the state police ever come by here and ask for Ring camera footage from the morning of January 29th, 2022?
No, they haven't.
They haven't. Okay. That's literally all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. So a lot of people have pointed out, they're like, why didn't you ask him for the video? And I'm like, I probably should have, now that I realized it, but I was so.
What was the date you were there, by the way? Do you recall?
It was the summer sometime. It was like
Who knows if it would have even been preserved at that point then.
Right. But I guess my point here is that, like, what I'm trying to prove, it's not so much what the police did do to frame Karen Reed. It's what they didn't do. They didn't speak. They intentionally chose not to find the plow driver. They intentionally chose not to get any Ring cameras. Now, she also had to go to the center of Canton, right? And in the center of Canton is the library. The library has a camera that goes directly at the intersection. It would have gotten a perfect image of her taillight. So they get it from the town IT director, and the town IT director hands over the entire video footage from the night. Except there's one thing, according to the state police, 2 minutes have disappeared between 12:37 and 12:39, which happened to be the exact same time that Karen Reed would have gone through there. Those are the only 2 minutes that are missing, are the 2 minutes when Karen Reed went through the intersection. Why do you think that is? Because the taillight was intact. And if the taillight was intact, then Karen Reed is innocent and it's game over.
I want to say, talking about Copper Digger or whatever her name is, I did see one of her posts where she's talking about the taillight, and she's saying, look at these images of this car, the taillight aren't busted. She's got the wrong side of the vehicle posted. That's all I want to say about her. She's got the wrong side of the vehicle posted. It's just amazing to me. But
nothing obstructing it. It would have gotten her car going right by. Like, this would have been one of the first places you go to. And okay, so did they come? No, they didn't. And I see somebody.
It's an awful convenient 2 minutes to be missing.
Yeah, a little bit cover up, because we've seen in recent days with this murder in Braintree.
I'm going to post this whole video, by the way, as a standalone video, so anyone can check it with the written allegations versus the video with the timestamps that the prosecution quotes, because we're skipping around a little bit.
Michael Proctor and Yuri Bukaki. They went.
Please tell me that's his last name.
His name is Buchanan. We call him Bukaki. And Dedham
That's
Street,
probably what I would do too.
Which are streets that Karen Reed would have gone on had she done a 3-point turn and gone north on.
Oh, the 3-point turn though, that's out the window. That's out.
Yeah, this is 3 months ago. We're not bothering.
Yeah, we're not bothering with that anymore.
They constantly change their story. Constantly. I mean, we haven't even gotten into the Dighton situation with the taillight and 4:30 and daylight savings. There's a whole other freaking story with that. I don't know how much time you got, but
I've got all night. But I wanted to pull this up. Okay, so this is
I want to talk to his boss. I'm like, because Michael Proctor never spoke with these.
These are the snowplow guys, right?
This is the DPW, yeah, and this is what I get in trouble for. This is in the the charging documents. Spoke with Michael Trotta. Never spoke with Walsh. Never spoke with him. And so I'm like, are they there? And I got this lady.
I guess what I wanted to say is, in the indictment, it is, Turtleboy goes to Canton, right? And harassing everybody. But you're not. You're knocking on doors, you're asking questions, and you're moving on. You don't stick around. You're not continually harassing people. You're just simply asking questions, and they either answer or they don't. Or you leave your contact information and you move on. That was the context that I wanted to set up for this particular part of the allegation. And this is episode 594.
My name's Aiden.
I'm sorry, that is an employee's assistant. You'd like to come to the
Oh, how do we get in that way?
You went the wrong way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops. Running this.
It happens.
counter? Can I help you?
Yes. Is this the Department of Public Works?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Is Michael Trotta in?
He's on vacation right now.
Okay.
Who you are?
My name's Aiden Carney from Turtleboy Daily News. And I was also looking for Mr. Walsh. Is he around by any chance, the superintendent?
I can give you a message.
Is he here?
She
He's out in
didn't.
the field.
She did not want to
Yeah,
work.
I've been trying to reach him, so.
Did you leave him a message?
Yes, and he hasn't called back, so.
Does she know who you are at this point?
She knows who I am.
It's like,
Everyone
he's
kind
kind
of
of
busy.
busy.
Oh yeah.
She does because she writes down your first name.
Yeah, everyone in Canton. I don't want to brag and sound like I'm cocky, but it's just a fact. I've been covering this story so much. It's a small town. Everyone in Canton knows who I am.
That's okay. Everyone in my neighborhood knows who I am.
Yeah. They work for Canton. It's like, this is why I hate government employees and government workers. They're just so lazy. Like, nobody wants to fucking work. Because what do they care? They get paid the same.
I agree.
No
but look
what.
at this,
Like,
the way this woman's dressed
kinda
in her
busy.
hair.
Yeah,
I
just not giving a shit.
Just
Does he have a
doesn't
fucking
care.
cell phone?
She's given up
Can you
10
call
years
him?
ago.
You're so
Can
bothered
you
by
get
me
off
asking,
your
like,
fucking
ass and do some goddamn work, lady?
10.
How about that?
But if I feel like if
But
you
she
asked
knows
her
who I
for
am.
like a snowplow form, she'd be
Very- it
just
was
the
very
same
clear
way.
that she knows
Yeah.
who I am, and she
Exactly.
doesn't want to help me out. So
He asked her for a bonfire permit.
He's
I'll
trying to
play
go
your
game, you know.
It's like, really? I
You have his phone number, right?
I'm like, I'll wait.
I can leave the message. So.
I love it. As soon as you said, I'll wait, because I've done that before. Like, I'll just sit here and wait. Or like, oh, wait, hang on. Let me check.
Yeah, change it.
I do that when I call opposing counsel sometimes, and they're like, oh, he's on the other line. I'm like, that's okay. I'll wait. And then they pick up in 30 seconds.
I can leave a message and I'll get it to him.
Now
I
watch
just know
this.
He's out in the field right now.
Watch this.
How do I spell the last name, sir?
Kear.
She already wrote.
She goes, how do I spell the last name, sir? She had already written out my first name and spelt it correctly. She knows who
Very
I am.
rare.
She didn't have to ask my first name. She didn't even have to ask what my last name was. She just asked how to spell it. She had already spelled my name. So she knows who I am at this point. People are messaging me now and they're saying that she is a friend. She lives in Tim Albert's neighborhood, and she is best friends with the Weeks girls. That is
Never
McKee's
underestimate
sisters.
the collective knowledge of the internet,
So
by the way.
this is what we're dealing
That's
with.
terrifying.
This is the home cooking. So I'll be back, Miss Miss Boys Regular. I'll be back. You haven't seen the last of me because he never called. Walshy never called me today. Trotta never called me. If you think you're gonna get rid of me that easily, you're badly mistaken. I will literally sit there all day. All day.
This is what they quoted.
I'll eat.
But they cut out the part about
Chinese.
Walshy and what's
I'll
his
make
name?
it. I'll make a day of it. I'll just sit there all freaking day because he's got to come back sometime. I'll be like, I've unfinished business. We didn't see Michael Morrissey today. I'll be back. Like, get used to this. Like, these people think I'm fucking around. Like, I'm Mr. Internet guy. Like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna write blogs all day, and it's okay. It's just writing blogs and just ignore them, whatever. No. I live an hour away. It's not. I got Alexis now. It's not a problem. It's got good. It's got great mileage and a good engine. I'll be there in an hour. No problem.
That's funny.
Like I'll get used to it. And they're making and they're
funny,
they're making it sound like I'm like talking to the victims here, the witnesses.
Right.
I'm not. I'm talking to the DPW people who are giving me the runaround. I mean, that's evil what they're doing. They're trying to lock me up for 120 years on things that they know are lies. Like they're misrepresenting what I'm saying on purpose. Somebody had to intentionally delete a whole phrase or a whole sentence that would have completely changed what the message meant on purpose in order to make me look like a psycho. So when they're
There's
reading
so
these out,
much missing text in this.
So
too.
much context.
and when they read this out at the arraignment, I sound like a psychopath to the judge. That's the impression of the judge that has on me. Like, this guy's fucking crazy. I better put a stay away order in place. This guy's dangerous. And it's so dishonest. It's such evil lying. And they're doing it to silence me. That's because I'm too effective at calling out their bullshit and their lies. And they don't like that.
When I first heard it, my first thought was, did he really say that? I feel like there's more to this story. And so that's why I went digging, because it just, when you read it like this, it's so,
it sounds crazy.
Yeah, it does. It does. It sounds crazy.
It doesn't look good.
Not a good look.
It doesn't look good.
That's why I read it. I'm like, the whole time in court, they're reading this out. I'm like, I'm sure there's something different there. You don't remember everything you said. So you're like, I'm sure they're fucking manipulating something here, but I don't know what it is because I don't have this transcript in front of me.
We got Southern Mom with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Zachariah Anderson absolutely needs the Turtleboy army to raise some loud attention.
I'm going to Google his ass.
Yeah, check it out.
Get into this one, brother.
And somebody in chat asked what case it was. That's the case. Zachariah Anderson.
Zachariah Anderson. Again, I have a playlist. I've got some streams with.
Is he locked up?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's convicted. Oh. I give you guys a brief overview. We have Zachariah Anderson has a ex-girlfriend with 3 children in common. They're kind of on again, off again. She starts dating a guy that she meets on Facebook or social media app or something like that. She's seen him 6 times. This guy goes missing. There's blood in his apartment, and the police presume that he's dead, and they can't find the body. Okay, so they have no body. They have some blood in an apartment that matches the victim. We'll call him the victim. We don't even know if he's still alive. They find none of the defendant's DNA in this bloody crime scene. They have 0 video of the defendant or his vehicle an hour south of Milwaukee, or an hour south from his home on the other side of Milwaukee, anywhere near the defendant at the time and place. They have 0 cell phone evidence that places the defendant anywhere near the victim's place, or his apartment at the time and date of the alleged incident. They have 0 witnesses that identifies anybody being around, let alone the defendant. They search. He lives on a septic field. They drain his septic tank. There's no DNA of the defendant or of the victim anywhere in the defendant's house, in his septic, at his family farm, tree farm, nowhere. They have no murder weapon. They have possible other suspects that might have a financial motive. Someone's giving me some feedback.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. I'm reading about Zachariah Anderson on my phone.
And so the only thing that physically connects him to the victim at all is 1 spot of DNA in a completely trashed vehicle that was never cleaned. Yet they can't identify where it is. It's in the back. It's on the back near the hatch, right? 1 spot of DNA of the victim in the defendant's vehicle, but it's transfer DNA. It could have gotten there from the kids, right? The guy's been at the girlfriend's house where the kids are. They, back and forth. Who knows who touched what, went where, and how that got on there.
Well, and it wasn't an exact match either. It wasn't
an exact match.
This is the victim's DNA. It couldn't be ruled out.
Consistent with. And there's, right. I mean, I'm trying to summarize it very quickly because there's a whole lot of issues with the way the DNA was admitted into evidence. There's a whole lot of issues with regard to what the defense was able to present in the trial.
This was in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm like, this is the courtroom that Kyle Rittenhouse was.
The exact same judge.
Yeah.
Same judge.
Oh, that guy. That guy.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And the prosecutor.
I liked him too until I watched the Zachariah Anderson case, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I think Rittenhouse won in spite of the judge.
Now, let me tell you something. Like, 6 months ago, if you were to tell me this, I don't know, I haven't researched this guy at all. I'll look into it. But if 6 months ago you told me the story, I would just assume there's more to it. I'm like, he probably, you know what I mean? Because you believe it. The Karen Reed story has completely changed the way I view Law and Order. I look at everything with the skeptical eye now, and I know that like if they're willing to do this to her, the only reason this is a story is like even that she has a fighting chance is because she had the financial resources. What do poor people do? Like what happens to them?
We have Zachariah Anderson as an example. You know, he doesn't have a ton of money. The family helped what they could. They did have private counsel, but they didn't have their own DNA experts. They didn't have their own crime scene experts. They didn't have a lot of, you know, if you have the resources to back you up, what you would have. But I always tell people, imagine this, your significant other that you have kids with is dating somebody for a couple of months or a couple of weeks, and they go missing and they pin it on you. They have no physical evidence, no eyewitnesses, no video, no cell phone data to back up their allegations. All they have is one spot of DNA in the back of your car, which may or may not have been the defendant or the victims and could have been transferred there anyways. Would you be comfortable getting convicted for this guy's murder? Nobody even.
How did 12 jurors not see reason?
Not a
without?
single
Not a clue.
juror
They
has come out and spoke yet.
Yeah, they haven't
Nobody said
spoken.
anything.
Yeah. Wow.
There was also Judge Schrader. He potentially took some kind of a head wound between the Rittenhouse trial and this trial.
He had a big scar during the Zachariah Anderson case. He fell down and like knocked himself out for a while. I will also say too,
was in the hospital at the time. It was just gross. There was a lot.
That guy was like Seoul, Wisconsin. Isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
He I will say too that the victim, Rosalio Gutierrez, he was also a court officer, so that every judge in that court had to recuse themselves. And they kind of brought Judge Schroeder back in kind of from retirement. He was just like, he was handling some civil stuff until he sort of retired. They brought him back in to do this case after he had been out for 6 months because of his head injury. And there was just all kinds of stuff going on with that case. So if you want to see what and I tell Solomon Anderson, Zach's brother's been on my show and been in my chat, and he might be listening now. I tell him all the time, I don't care if his brother did it, but that's not enough evidence to convict him.
The state certainly didn't prove that he did it.
That was a dirty prosecutor.
Wow, I can't wait to look into it.
Yeah.
And it looks like he was recently convicted too, so that's interesting.
Yeah. March will be the sort of 1 year anniversary coming up. Thank you very much for the $20 super chat. Thank you, Dave. Free Zachariah Anderson. Yeah, Free Zachariah Anderson is a big movement. I should have worn my Free Zachariah Anderson shirt since I have so many eyes on me today. But getting back to your case.
Yeah, just point of interest. I have about 8:55. I got to jump on another stream.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so that's fine. But if anything else you want to ask me, feel free.
Well, I have this. Let's see.
Isn't he needs protection against me? I'm so scary.
Oh, that's a Bud Light too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
God bless him.
Every picture they take is like that.
Okay, so September 13th, 2023. How dare you? Canton Cover Up, part 142. You praise the people that put up the billboard.
Oh, God forbid. God forbid.
This is the billboard.
Lock me up.
This is your post.
Yeah.
I just want to say I love this billboard, and I want to point it out there because I want more people to have eyes on it.
That's outside the Patriots Stadium, like traffic every day for it's like they see that. It's so
I need to excuse myself. I got a dog wigging out on me.
No worries.
I'll be right back.
Oh wow, that dog was wigging out on me.
That was really wigged, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so but this is part of what you're being accused of too. For some reason, like, by the way, this is 100% covered by the First Amendment. I don't know of a single case that says a billboard arguing for somebody's innocence in a criminal trial is tainting the jury pool. That's nonsense.
It's like
just nonsense.
They say tainting, I say educating. Like what?
Yeah,
like,
right?
What does tainting mean? It sounds such a dirty word. It's like, yeah, I'm just telling the truth about what happened and sharing evidence and facts with the general public. If I had a small following, would I be allowed to do that? Is it the fact that I have a big following? Is that the problem? Where in the First Amendment does it say you can say things as long as you don't have a big following on YouTube? Then you can't say it. Then you're a felon. I mean, it's just so absurd.
Well, I have such a problem with that because you are speaking for the defendant, but how many news sources out there go on and on about how these people are guilty?
It's the assumption.
That's okay, but that's not.
You said it the other day on your stream. You said that like the problem with jurors when they come in, when you've voir dire them, whatever, it's like, do you assume that my client did it like because he's here?
Yeah.
And most do. That is what you go in. That's the bias that everyone has when they go in.
Yeah, it is, and it's unfortunate because this country was founded on the idea that we don't like government, right? And so we're going to put a bunch of checks and balances in the way of government. Now, a lot of those have been eroded, but the final check on the government's authority to do anything to you is the jury. That's the final check. You need to get citizen approval. The government needs citizen approval before they can lock somebody away for any amount of time, take away their liberty, or do whatever. And I don't think society realizes that is actually, it's a fundamental part of the system, that it's the final check on the government, on a corrupt government. You can have a corrupt DA. You can have corrupt cops. You can have a corrupt judge. They still got to get past you, the people that sit on the jury. And I don't think anyone realizes that anymore. So I saw you, this question was posted, I think yesterday, 49 Super Chat, knock on wood. Say Karen Reed gets off and you go to jail. Was it all worth it in the end?
Yes, I'm willing to go to jail for this. I'm willing to die for this. I'm not kidding. It's like, I refuse to accept the fact that I live in a country where people can be lynched by the government and you don't have the right to speak out about it. Like I was a student of history. I'm not Martin Luther King, but he was my hero, right? People like Martin Luther King were my hero because they were willing to sacrifice themselves for something much greater than them. We get one life to live. Well, yeah, I could go home, I could eat my cheese sandwich and drive my Toyota Corolla and call it a night and be safe and no problems, right? But what kind of world is that? Like, what kind of, like, I don't want to live in a country like that. I love this country. I envision something better for America than a system like that. So I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to keep talking about this because I know my rights. I know that what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And I also know I'm not going to jail because with the more, I mean, you guys didn't know much about this before you come into it. You guys are potential jurors, like people like you. Jurors are just regular people. They will come in, they will see the facts presented to them, and they will see through the bullshit.
I mean, we all hope that they do. At least I do. And people in my little YouTube circle all think that way and hope many jurors do it. Unfortunately, I just see too many people that assume guilt. A couple of questions to try to get to before you have to run. So this dude has a restraining order against him. Did you ever get any restraining orders?
Well, they're the stay away orders, which I guess kind of effectively do the same thing. It's a condition of probation that I have to stay away from these 8 victims or whatever.
No Strays Entertainment with 199. He was the one that just asked the other one, but this is one from a little bit ago. Is it possible that Turtleboy is right, but going about it wrong?
That's subjective.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's up to you. One person's wrong is another person's right.
Right. Well, and that was the other thing too. So one of the allegations that I don't really have any video for or anything like that is actually regarding the license plates and all of that stuff. Now, there's supposedly some videos out there, but I haven't been able to find anything. And so just reading the allegations, it sounds kind of bad. But like everything that's been presented thus far, once you actually start looking at the actual evidence, it doesn't sound that bad. You know, like the last video we just watched, where if you have the context of I'm going to the DPW and I'm going to sit around until there's someone I can actually talk to, it doesn't sound so bad. And so I'd be curious to see, and I'm always let's take a look at the evidence kind of guy. I'd be curious to see what sort of evidence they actually have, or if they're just making up stuff.
Oh no, so they know that the license plate was pulled by someone else. And by the way, it's a conspiracy, and I'm the only one charged in it. So I made a post, as I do frequently on Facebook, and I said, anyone want to run a plate for me? And people do. Tow truck drivers, people run plates all the time. You can like pay $5 a month to like find, license. Like it's not a big secret. And I wasn't doing it to harass anyone because this is what I'm being charged with. I was doing it because Jen McCabe's car was seen parked outside of the Proctor household. And the whole story the whole time was there's no conflict between the lead detective and this witness because they don't know each other. Yet her car's at her house. And in order to 100% cement my reporting that this white Jeep does in fact belong to her, I'm going to do my due diligence and run the plate to make sure it's hers. I I made a post. Somebody, like a dozen people, volunteered to run it. They all did, and lo and behold, it was her. And so now that proves that they've been lying the whole time. So instead of looking into that and saying, "Oh wait, we can't move forward with this freaking travesty with Karen Reed anymore because it turns out he's conflicted," they just gonna lock me up instead. That's their solution.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing too. Like in the state of Michigan, there's essentially two different systems. There's the government system, which you have to be a cop or law enforcement to access. But I can call up any private investigator and say, "Hey, give me the name and address for that play," and they'll be like, "Okay, no problem." And
it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
It's really not a big deal, and that's why I was like, so they allege that it came from somebody from Department of Motor Vehicles or dispatch or something. I don't know.
A local police dispatcher. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, did it though? I mean, you
it did. So that's why she got caught and the other dozen people who ran the play didn't, because police can only find out when other police do it. They can't find out if a tow truck driver does it. They can't find out if a PI does it. So, and she, took the fall for that. I mean, we both are like, yeah, who cares? Like, you're going to arrest us for that? Yeah, they really are. You know how often cops run plates on hot blondes when they see them drive by? Like, let's find out her name. Ask any cop. Every cop watching this knows they've done that before. It's so common. We don't lock people up for that. That's insane.
I think we're going to have to ask the expert's friend about that, Valhalla, next time we're on stream with him. We got a buddy that has a friend that's a cop. I'm going to ask him point blank.
It's a slap on the wrist. It's an ethical thing. You're not supposed to do it, but like, it's not a freaking felony. We're going to come to your house and put you in cuffs and search your goddamn house. That's insane. Like, what?
Lady Law, for some reason we can't you can't do it on your phone. So if you're on a YouTube app, the membership doesn't work, but maybe one of my mods can put a link in there and you can just follow that link and join if you want to. But I appreciate it.
So
any parting words before you got to run?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. I appreciate the conversation. Anybody who's interested in learning more about the story, follow us on YouTube, Turtleboy Live, or check out our website, tbdailynews.com. I know it's a lot. So if you want to just get started, just read it's right on our front page, the 30-minute video framed, and it'll catch you up to speed as best we can.
Yeah, and there's also a link to your 30-minute video in the description. So anyone who doesn't know the story can at least get caught up there, and you can see the channel and go back there and subscribe and do all that good stuff.
All right.
So thank you very much for being on.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with me.
I appreciate it, Turtleboy.
All right, take care.
Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Later,
Bye. So I wanted to, though. Well, first of all, Valhalla, what are your thoughts?
My initial thoughts are always of rage towards the establishment when I see them doing dirty things, right? And it appears that that's what's happening now. I can't, in my mind, rationalize there being a difference between a private journalist and a network journalist as far as
legally there's not. But I think we ran into this a little bit when I talked about myself being a journalist, right? And I was going to get credentialed in Orlando so I could cover the Sarah Boone case. And, we had some pushback from some retired journalists or whatever, like, you're not a real journalist. Well, what is the difference? Because there's legally no distinction. So if you want to hold yourself up high and mighty, that's fine. But I agree, Flux. That dude is fucking funny. Valhalla and I were watching. I think we were watching some of his stuff earlier. And
I told you guys about him. I'm like, he is funny. He was hilarious.
But I do want to play a little bit more of this. I know we had to run, but okay. So June 2026. We're not going to obviously have him filling in, but episode 594. Turtleboy returns to Canton in a YouTube video. 30 mark. He states when that he arrives, he noticed that the front door of the residence was open. So he is going to Jennifer McCabe's house, right? And so, but listen to where this read. Carney played the video he recorded at the residence on his YouTube video. Carney rang the doorbell and video recorded the interior of the residence through the glass door, the storm door. A person is seen inside the home on the video, which is it Kearney? I think it's how you say it, which Kearney stated is Jennifer McCabe. Kearney was videotaping into the home for approximately 1 minute. So that sounds kind of Pee-Pee Tom-ish, right?
Right.
Okay. So let's watch.
So I go to the McCabe household and they don't know I'm coming. And I'm like, I pull up there and I'm like, oh shit, the door is
Carney.
She left the door open. Well, that's gonna make this a lot easier. She can't close the door on me because she's not gonna want to come near me. So I just go and we start filming.
I'd be happy, Mark, by the way, I'd be happy to give him a little pushback because I was with the license plate stuff. I didn't know how much he would be able to talk about because it's kind of illegal, right? At least it is. So, but with regard to the harassment of a witness, if you've got a case, I'd love to see it. Because you had mentioned earlier that you had a case that says that this is going to stand up to scrutiny. But remember, in this particular video, he's alleged to have been peering through the window, kind of peepee-tomming for a while. Oh, wait, I got to hit play. Hang on.
I think she does like the attention.
Everyone's got
Jamie's
rings.
dogs.
But at the same time, like, don't let the face, like the fake poker face,
Doors open.
fool you. Like, she does not, like, she hates this
Someone
deep
must
down.
be home.
Thanks, Mark. I'll check
Yeah,
it out.
oh, he's like,
Three cars in the driveway.
someone's home. Summer
Like
summer vacation's over, so
Oh, we
selling
got to watch
some
that Jill
candy
video
bars
too.
for my Girl Scout troop.
where are you, Jen?
Yeah, but
Watch, she makes an appearance. Ready? Catch it.
No.
See if you see her.
What were you gonna say, Jamie?
There it is. There she is. You
no,
see
none
that?
of this seems
She appears.
at
I
all.
saw it.
It's just like he has his phone on him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, well, right now he's talking. That's him in studio talking, and my thing with the charging allegations is blocking him. But he's not talking like this at the porch. He's literally standing there silent.
yeah,
Like, look at her. She came out to like see what I was doing, and she does like put some dishes in there, and then just runs away, like in her own house. Why do they always do this when I come to their house? Like, everybody's a tough guy. Everybody runs their mouth, and then it's like, okay, well, let's have a talk. And it's good. Like, I'm not. You can't even say you're fearing because I come in peace. You'll never see me during any of these things being like, what the fuck, you want to fight me? Like, no, that's not what I'm about here to do.
I will say I haven't watched all of Turtleboy, but what I have watched, he's not doing that. He's not showing up. Hey, fucktard, you want to fight me? He's not doing that. He's literally asking questions. Now, he might be a little condescending and a little jackassery, but it's funny, right? And everyone on YouTube, including Turtleboy, is here for entertainment. So we're trying to offer, at least I am on my channel, some legal criticisms of these things and sort of a rational breakdown, but in an entertaining way.
I just want to ask you some legitimate questions about a matter of public concern. And none of
Chris Mullen with the $5 super chat. Thank you. How is this okay? Though he is at her home. That cannot be right. I would not be okay with that. Well, anybody can walk up to your front door and ring your doorbell, Chris. Nobody is prevented from doing it. The only way you can do it legally is by putting like a fence up and a gate up and making it obvious that you don't want people to walk up. Otherwise, if you have a driveway and you have a sidewalk that leads to your front door, it's presumed you're inviting people to at least knock on your door. And that's all he did. The door happened to be open. He's standing there. So it is 100% legal.
like Mike Fucci did the same thing. They hide, like, this is your house. Why do you have to hide in your house? You shouldn't have to hide in your house. You can just answer.
Thanks
the door,
for
tell
joining
me to
us,
fuck
Rob
off,
Page.
and I'll leave. Like that's all I can do. But
And if she put no trespassing signs up afterwards, that's different. But right now, there doesn't seem to be any. So, and I will say that there is part of this video later, he does a road rally where he goes around to different locations and does a protest. They don't go up the driveway when there's the no trespassing signs.
no, they know.
Oh, there's Jen. Let's see if they come to the door.
One time, Chris, he went there once, rang the doorbell,
So it
knocked on the
definitely
door,
Jen in there. I think
stands
you
there
can
for a
hear
minute
some
and
ring,
leaves.
too.
Anyone can do
So
that.
Jen, I mean you no harm. I just have a couple questions. Looking for how long to die in cold. I wonder if you had an answer for that. But we'll see.
A gated community is
saw it.
different because the community has put up essentially those fences, and
You expect a higher level of privacy behind a gated community.
yeah, but if your neighbor inside the gated community wants to walk up to your door, they can, because you have a sidewalk and a front door and everything else. So it's all within the confines of expectations of privacy. And the Supreme Court has ruled many times that if you have a driveway and a walkway up to your front door, you don't have any no trespassing signs, you don't have a fence, you don't have a gate, none of that, it's presumed that you're inviting people to at least come and knock on your door, which is what he's doing.
Could you imagine some crazy lady calling the cops because the domino guy knocked on her door and pressing charges?
I know, went to the wrong place. Oh my God.
Well, also too, like a lot of people don't like it because they think it's like just like, oh, that like I don't want somebody just walking up to my door. But there's a difference between that it being illegal, because that's what we're looking at here, right? It's illegal to do what he's doing, and that's not the case.
Doesn't seem to be.
Okay, and maybe that's the case, Tina. I don't know Turtleboy. I told him I was going to do the stream. I said if he wanted to hop on, he can hop on. That's it. I'm watching the videos that are specifically addressed, but in the process, I've also been watching a lot. And the road rage one, or not the road rage, the road rally one, where he had a bunch of people following him around and they were protesting various locations. By the way, they did that in 2 hours. They went to like 4 locations. So they weren't there very long for the protest. Each protest location was like 20 minutes, maybe. So it wasn't like they were there all day. But when they went to a particular address, I don't know which one it is, you guys can go back and look if you want to, they specifically referenced the no trespassing signs, and nobody went on the property. They stayed on the street. So all I can say is what I've seen.
I haven't seen a video where he's trespassing, and
it might be out there. I just don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
Jen,
I
I mean you no harm. So, all right, I guess she doesn't. Let me try one more time.
He rings the doorbell for a second time.
Yeah, not so tough without our lackeys.
And see, this is why I just want to give this context.
Yeah,
these
I mean,
allegations.
why not just clear this up? You know, if it's
I
all a
guess
big
she's,
misunderstanding.
Busy?
And that's it. And he leaves.
So yeah,
I mean, there's nothing illegal about what he did. He rang the doorbell. He wanted to ask questions. He did it once. He rang the doorbell twice. He went to the house once. That's it.
Yeah.
So, so this is episode 598. Breaking. Karen Reed, defense files motion to recuse, and it's only going to get worse. Or some of the statements that he made.
wild shit happened like the last couple hours in Canton. So, a woman. Oh, nice. A woman has a turtle rider. I believe her name is Deanna. You guys got to see this. Okay. So she goes to the waterfall bar today. I don't know if she's from Canton or what, but I'm going to bring this up for you guys.
This is the one that we were talking about
haven't seen
earlier
this.
that I didn't get to yet.
So there, she posts this and she says, this is Chris Albert, right? We are at the waterfall. And there he is in the middle of the, afternoon.
This is why I specifically
bar.
asked him why he was on
I don't
panel,
know if he drove there.
if he ever asked anyone to do these.
I believe, I don't know if he lost his license when people forget about Chris Albert. I mean, look at that face, by the way. Look at that face. That is the face of a man who he knows he's being photographed. He's pissed. He's not happy about it. Like, I confronted this guy a couple weeks ago. This guy's got his head on a swivel.
Let's see here. Should he be talking about this so much, though? They can use all of this as evidence in court, right? Yes. I mean, anything you say will be used against you. So, I mean, whether or not he should be, that's up for him. He has the Fifth Amendment right. Whether he exercises it or not is up to him.
And he's
everywhere
clearly
now. He's like turtle riders.
he knows where the lines are. I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's his. Again, that's his choice. I always say don't talk to anyone about anything ever. And but here we are talking now, and this is his story. He wants to talk about it.
Where are they? Got bad news for you, Chris. I got really bad news for you. They're literally everywhere. You can't, like, you guys should just stop going out in public. Like, that'd be my recommendation. And it's only going to get worse from here. It's only going to, I did not direct this person to do
I'll
this.
put it in chat.
I can't stop them. They're everywhere. They don't like you. Nobody likes you. You guys killed someone. You literally killed someone. Not you. You didn't do it. You raised someone who did it. And, you know, your big bro did it. But, like, and you obviously know this and you're helping to cover it up. But I guess you didn't kill anyone. So you got that going for you. So good job, Chris. You just raised the killer. Anyway, and we're going to get to that too. But he's obviously, when I saw him, like, this dude is ready and, like, looking around. They insist on going out in public. Like, Chris, I know where you guys were today. Y'all were in Agawam, weren't you? I got pictures of you on my cell phone. I got people sending me pictures. You guys were at some sort of Little League thing in Agawam. I got pictures of Courtney Proctor. I got pictures of, who was she with there? I forget. There's a whole crew here. Alberts, McCabe's, all
There's
you
a whole
people
crew
were
of
there.
you. That's very boss.
So, like, just know that there will be no life as normal is over. Okay, life is normal. You had normal for a while there, from January 29th till about April, January 29th, 2022 till April of 2023. You guys literally got away with murder. Okay, you were being called out in court documents, in court, by David Yannetti, Alan Jackson, and crew. And it just wasn't getting attention for some reason, like, which is wild because the story is freaking sensational. It's been there under my nose the whole time, and I didn't even know about it.
So, legal question is, what constitutes online stalking? Well, online stalking isn't really a thing. I mean, you either have, like, malicious use of a communication device, which is essentially using any telecommunication device, computer or otherwise, to harass people, to threaten them, to do things like that, or you have, you know, your traditional sort of harassment and threatening.
Well, for the most part, you have to be told to stop doing those things, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, in order for there to be harassment of any sort, you have to have unwanted conduct or contact, right? And so the question is, well, how do we know when it's unwanted? Well, somebody says no. Okay, so don't contact me anymore has to be then the thing that's said first. And then apparently in Massachusetts, it's 3 times you contact them after that, or in Michigan, it's 2 times. I'm sure other states have different varying things, but it has to be unwanted. And that unwanted communication has to be communicated to the person, the perpetrator, the defendant in some way, shape, or form. So, but just talking into space is not communicating with anyone in particular, because although Turtleboy or myself or Valhalla or anybody has the right to put stuff out there, nobody can force you to listen to it. So
if I put up a video talking about how goats are way better than sheep, for example, I can't get sued later by some sheep farmer for libeling his sheep flock.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you have to really try to be communicating to somebody, not just in general.
Well, that's the whole thing, is he's just putting his 2 cents out there, his story out there, and people don't have to listen to it.
And if we're going to follow sort of the going trend of the law right now, go check out Rachel Maddow's lawsuit, defamation lawsuit, where she was sued for defamation. And the court ruled that literally doesn't mean literally anymore. When she said, I think Trump is literally a Russian paid propagandist, or the Republican Party was, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. She used the word literally, and the court said, yeah, but she didn't mean literally. That's the state of the law right now when it comes to defamation and all these things. So when in this indictment, they're saying he is accusing these people of murder, this and that, well, that's his opinion. It's still just his opinion. So
you have nothing to hide. Why are you acting like this?
Oh,
because you were fucking being.
For anyone who missed it, this is the context of some woman who encountered. God, now I wish I remembered his name. Someone in the chat's going to know it. But anyways, one of the witnesses at a bar took his picture. We just saw it a minute ago.
Chris Albert. Was it Chris Albert?
I think it's, Chris Albert. And now is literally being yelled at by him in the parking lot.
So weird to me.
You know, I was sitting across the bar. You were across from me. I was looking. Where else do you want me to look? In the fucking air?
Hon, you stared at me.
I didn't stare. You were sitting right across the bar. You sitting
Oh,
right
what?
across the bar from me.
I saw what you did.
What did I do?
Otherwise, why would I come
What did
over
I
to
do?
Yeah, what did I do?
What did I do?
pictures of me? That's
I didn't take pictures of you.
You took.
It doesn't matter. He's a public figure in a public place or a private place open to the public, right? Essentially the same thing. You don't have expectations of privacy at a restaurant.
Well, and he's a cop, right? So he should know all this.
He's a town selectman, so he's like a whatever.
Brian Albert is the cop.
Yeah, Brian Albert's the cop. This is Chris Albert. This is his brother. He's
so many damn Alberts.
I know these names. I know. That's why I was like drawing
You
my
need
murder
the,
board.
you need the murder board.
I need the-
We need to FOIA it since they took it. We should FOIA it.
Yeah, so this is some random woman that was harassed, who was harassed by a victim. Well, this is a random woman who was harassed by a witness, I guess, in this case. And she filmed it, and Turtleboy's like, look at this asshole. I mean, he didn't ask for it. He didn't, presumably, right? Presumably, there's no record that he went out and said, this particular woman, go follow this guy around, take videos, get into some confrontation, send it back to me. Assuming that's the case, he's streaming from, it looks like Facebook. So,
I think he found it on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, I see the little Facebook logo on the top. Yep. Bye, Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Oh, sorry.
Took pictures of me. Like, this is what you're doing. You're following someone, a woman, mind you. You're following a woman out to her car and being like, you took pictures of me. Who gives a fuck? You're in public. There's no expectation of privacy. Who cares if somebody took pictures of you? Oh, you took pictures of me? Yeah. So what if I did? Who cares?
Get Brooke and Baker to draw the
And you gotta
pictures.
confront
Yeah,
her
that's
and
what's
then
gonna
cause
happen.
a scene. These people are so fucking stupid. Like, they just don't know how to keep a low profile. They can't help it. They are unraveling. This is unhinged behavior on the part of Chris Albert. We are getting to them. And like, Chris, the more you act like this in public, this just I'm like, oh, we're getting to him. Oh, that's like a green light for me. Like, ooh, time to hit the gas. Like, that's what that is. That's a big mistake on your part.
Okay, so that's what he's being alleged to be threatening the witnesses with. We're coming for you. He's got a break. When I see this stuff, it's a green light. Is that crossing a line?
But read that text, and that sounds like, oh shit, this is crazy. But then when you see it in context like that, it's not even, he's just saying, hey dude, you're out there in public, people are gonna see you. That's how I take it.
Well, that's kind of how I take it too. Now when he says that's a green light for me, he has a tendency of speaking in a way which makes it sound antagonistic, right? And the statute is there to prevent people antagonizing witnesses, essentially getting them to change their story. So can we make an argument? I'm putting on my prosecutor's hat for a minute. Can we make an argument that that statement right there, even though he didn't solicit it, is his intent, right? We're going to show this as his intent to, this is what's establishing his intent, right? Because we really don't under the statute, which is stupid, but assuming they want to show that he has the intent to manipulate witnesses, this is what's going to prove that. That's what this is going to be used for.
Yeah.
So yes, context matters. And yes, this guy's, a jolly asshole. I like him a lot, but can this be used to show intent? Probably. Right. So that's my only criticism of this particular thing, but I won't say he's soliciting it because he's clearly not. There are clearly other people doing it. And if he decides to show it, so what? And the allegation was kind of multi-tiered. It was like, oh, and he's posting these videos or pulling up these videos and sharing them around and doing all this stuff. That doesn't matter. The last little bit, maybe it could show his intent. That's all I wanted to say about that.
You're fine.
Well, how did I take a picture of you? I was on the phone.
We can have a serious conversation.
Yeah, let's have a serious
Why don't you
conversation.
put your phone in your pocket? We can have a serious conversation.
I don't want to have a conversation with you.
Then why are you following me?
I'm going to my
That
car.
sounded more threatening than
Right
than,
there. Black pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yep.
He doesn't believe a
I'm going
woman
home
could
with you.
drive a truck. I'm going home.
I
with
want
you.
to see what Kitten's all about.
I have to be objective. Would this be okay in other cases? So I'm trying to think of, like, my mind immediately went to locally it'd be like Rob Wolchek or something, one of those investigative reporters, the Hall of Shame, right? Look at this guy, this contractor that took everybody's money, and we're going to track him down. And if Rob Wolchek, as a news reporter working for local Fox affiliate or NBC or whatever, said, this is a bad guy. He takes all these people's money. He has no shame, and we're coming for you, man. Would he be charged? Now, the statute reads witness intimidation, but when you read the language, it actually says anyone that could potentially be involved in a criminal investigation, right? So let's assume there's a criminal investigation going on about this contractor that stole this money. Usually there are by the time these news stories break. So could he then be intimidating someone with information involved in a criminal proceeding? You can make the argument, right?
If they could, though, why would they not arrest John O'Keefe by now for the same thing? Because that dude got big famous from that style of journalism. John
O'Keefe?
That's the guy that from this case. James O'Keefe from
well, and
I'm struggling, brother.
Yeah, no. I know what you're saying. My point is, I think because he's not towing the narrative line.
Well, that's what it very much seems to me to be. It seems to me that this is shut up, you little peon, and let us do our big lawyerly job prosecution thing.
Yeah, and much like the Whitmer kidnapping trial that I've been covering, this is, in my opinion, an attempt, just like that case. Those guys weren't doing anything illegal, but the government was scared of them. The government is scared of Turtleboy, and they're going to do what they can to inhibit his desire to exercise his fundamental rights, because this is a giant headache now for him. And if we charge him criminally, he's going to be less likely to do this going forward. Not because it was necessarily illegal, but because we don't want to have to deal with him. And this is going to
make him hush or go away, or
it's going. There's a word I'm looking for, but it's going to make him less likely to exercise his fundamental rights, even though they're completely legal to do so. I also have a problem with the idea that they're using a third party's video, and so they're essentially trying to implicate an individual through the intentional acts of a third party, which gets into a whole nother thing. If you look at the Gabby Petito lawsuit, the parents of Gabby Petito are suing the parents of Brian Laundrie.
Petito,
whatever. It's the same thing. You're trying to hold someone liable for the intentional wrongful acts of another, or the James and Jennifer Crumbly trial. Those are the parents of the Oxford school shooter, Ethan Crumbly. You're trying to hold the parents criminally responsible for the intentional wrongful acts of another. This is a slippery slope, and it's going to get really bad if we don't cut that short. Wendy H with a super chat.
Hi, Wendy.
I've missed you. Hopefully you're doing good. Like this video, please, and subscribe to MLSN. Yes, please subscribe. And if you can't become a member, my mod should be able to throw a link in there for you.
Old Line Red brought up a good point too. I mean, when Lori and Chad Daybell were going through before they were arrested, how many reporters were over in Hawaii up in their face?
Yep, filming them constantly. Where are your kids? Where are your kids? Where are your kids? Where are your kids? Yeah, I mean, you can say that you hate those people and they're horrible people and they deserved it. That's not how you should analyze this. Because if you start allowing these things for the truly guilty, it's going to happen for the innocent. It's going to happen to you at some point.
How is this? Okay, so if I'm being completely honest, right, his style is probably more aggressive than one that I would recommend people take or ever do myself, right?
Yeah, I could never.
But how is what he doing any different than, say, the paparazzi, where they're going around taking photographs of people in their cars and their houses when they can, asking them silly questions that may or may not have any relevance to anything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Any kind of so I guess the difference there would then be stars or public figures for sure.
Yep.
But as a government official, as a police officer, as a person of an elected position, you're still a government figure. So I
You're
don't see
a public figure. Yep.
That's what I meant, public figure. So I don't see how this could be any different than, say, the paparazzi or James O'Keefe or etc. This is very obvious to me that this is an intentional attack or arrest or whatever.
This is a clear example of.
My thing is, would they be at the same level with him if he was on the opposite end? If he was fighting for the prosecution, I bet you nobody would be saying a word.
Well, they're not going after Copper Digger or whatever her name is. She's doing the same thing, but on the other side, right? I mean, I did go through some of her Twitter stuff.
I think I'm going to say, I think it has everything to do with the side he's on and the way he approaches things. And it's just the way, I can tell that obviously that's the way he is. And they just want to shut him up.
What he does that I can't condone.
What he does that I can't condone.
I'm not sure I understand. I mean, again, he has a style that I would never take because I'm more of a, I don't know. Well, first of all, I'm an attorney, right? So we have a different sort of manner of, we're not necessarily all in your face. But I could never do it myself. It's not something that I could ever get comfortable around doing that. But it doesn't necessarily make it
funny though. Bro.
He is funny.
He's funny.
Yeah.
Are you that?
What was that?
No, it's just a style and he has obviously has this Massachusetts accent.
Hey, Solomon Anderson.
It's just real brash, and I like it. I like it.
Oh, I was like, how did that pop up? I forgot you have controls. Hey, Solomon, we were talking a lot about you, or at least your brother.
Hey, Solomon.
We were
trying to get Turtleboy on top of your case.
Out of it. Like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah, so he has insulated himself in this bubble where everyone agrees it's unanimous. Karen Reed did this, but
that's
it's
what
just
police
a
do.
Great reminder. I love when she said, everyone in the state knows you did this, and it's true. Everyone outside of your bubble, which is really small, and it's getting smaller by the day. It used to be bigger. It used to be kind of like the whole town. That is day by day. So many people in your town are looking at you, Chris, every day. When you go out in public and you go to the grocery store or wherever, people are taking pictures of you. I got a picture of you, Chris, and your wife, Julie, because I know you're watching, Chris. It's about a week or so ago. You went to Twin River Casino, didn't you? I got pictures of you.
Some information
at
missing.
Twin River Casino. I got pictures of Jen McCabe in Aruba. You can't leave the fucking country with Turtle Riders. We're going to find you. They're going to find you. You can't hide anymore. Your private life is officially over. Over. You leave your house, you're going to have your picture taken everywhere. So you need to get used to your new normal. This is your new normal. Any Turtle Rider sees you in public, they're going to do this. They're going to take pictures of you. They're going to send it to me. You're famous. Everyone knows what you did. And so this is a great reminder to the Chris Alberts of the world, because I'm sure he's not used to people challenging him like this. And he's freaking out. We need to accelerate it. I'm not telling you what to do, but Deanna did a fantastic job with this. Fantastic job.
So the question there is really, did he is he threatening him, Chris Albert? Or is he giving him a warning? Because I do that too. I'm like, hey, listen, guys, if you don't talk to the cops, man.
Well, it's been decided or whatever, right? That it has to be a real threat to be a threat. It can't be even saying. None of that sounded like a real threat, and they edited the context up to try to make it sound that way, and it still doesn't quite get there. But
yeah, there was a lot of context missing in that particular. I guess quote. It's not really a quote, but that section
heavily
of
redacted quote, shall we say?
Yeah, there was a lot missing there. Now I do have Commonwealth versus Casino, which is 70 Mass appellate court decision from 2007, and I haven't read it yet. But I'm going to go through this and see if there's anything significant there, because each state is different, right? We have 52 jurisdictions in this country, and what might be ridiculous charge in Michigan, might not be in Massachusetts. I don't know. So I'm going to check out this case and see if that changes my opinion on anything. But as a general kind of rule, right? I don't think
Boston
this rises to the
Magazine's
level.
calling these people.
Sorry. Oh, let's see here. There was something inferred.
Very, like, it's your perception too, because you could read into that how you wanted to read into that. Like, to me, to be honest with you, it was just him talking like, okay, you're out there now. We're talking about you. Your life is going to be different. People are going to see you. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I took it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be everybody's own perception of it.
Right. There's definitely an inference, but I don't know if an inference is enough. I did some research, mostly U.S. constitutional research, as opposed to Massachusetts specific, because that gets kind of expensive through Lexis, because I don't practice in Massachusetts, so I don't have a regular subscription for that. But I'm going to check out this case and some of its, see if I can't shepherdize it a little and do a little more digging, and then we might have another stream on this.
I'm curious to see what happens, because I really don't think it's going to amount to much. I think they're just going to try to punish him and
well, that's my thought, is they're going to keep him on a short leash while the Karen Reed case is pending. And then as soon as the Karen Reed case is done, or maybe just before, but they'll get him under some sort of plea deal where he takes, where he has probation restrictions and he still can't talk about it. They basically just want to get him under control until the Karen Reed case is done.
Well, now that he's charged, he's on pretrial, I'm sure. So he's already
on pretrial. Yeah, he's got bond restrictions.
He's already got all those restrictions in place now, and depending on how this goes, they may get.
But if he doesn't waive his right to a speedy trial, then he might have a trial before Karen Reed's. I don't know. I don't know what the speedy trial rights are in Massachusetts. So it'll be interesting. What did they get with the warrant? Computers and phones? Yeah, pretty much. Computers and phones. Apparently, they took his spreadsheet that connected all the dots between the people. And I don't know what else, but his reporting was that they took like 6 old phones and a computer.
Because they liked it when the Boston Globe was doing what they always do. Ignore.
Yeah. All right. Well, hang on. I got one more. All right. So episode 604. I said from the beginning, I don't want this to go to trial. Now, the state used this to say this was, again, his intent, right? His intent was to influence the witnesses because he doesn't want this to go to trial. He wants all the witnesses to be too scared to testify and go away. I'm assuming, because they pointed to this, though, that this was like his intent. So let's see what he actually had to say. Because that looks bad. I don't want this to go to trial. I'm going to intimidate these witnesses.
Boston Magazine's calling these people up, and because they liked it when the Boston Globe was doing what they always do, ignoring a real story. Like that, and WCVB was doing what they do best, covering up a real story because they have personal ties to it through Greg Henning and Katie Thompson, that animal abusing piece of shit. So, Katie Thompson Falconer, that is. By the way, she's pregnant again. Can you believe that?
She's talking about news reporter.
Pregnancy again. Oh, and she did a thing on this the other day. It was disgusting. Like it's like I don't want to get into that. Anyway, so I just feel like there's something going on here, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my senses are wrong. I don't know. Again, this is just an opinion. It's not a fact. It's not based in any. It is based in something. Some things I've seen, obviously, with Colin Albert and the Brian Higgins rumors and all that. But it's just, I don't know. I just feel like something's happening. However, at the same time, it's like somebody said this to me the other day about Karen Reed. It's like, this is no way to live. Like, this is not a life. Like, how long can one person deal with this cloud? Like I've said from the beginning that I do not want this to go to trial. Not that I fear her getting found guilty or anything like that, but just that's a sham. Like it should never go. Like this should be dropped. If there's any justice in the world, these charges should be dropped.
Okay. So that was the quote. That was what he said, right? The quote was, I don't want this to go to trial. What he said was, this shouldn't go to trial. I don't want this to go to trial. I've said from day one, this is a sham charge.
Yes.
And it shouldn't go to trial. This is no way to live. And for anyone out there that says, that takes the position, well, there's enough. Let's just send it to the jury and the jury will decide. Let's assume the person's innocent and let's assume the jury acquits that person. They still have a couple of years of immense stress, like hair falling out stress. They go into bankruptcy. They don't have any money. They come out owing a ton of money. Just take all of your worldly possessions, throw them out, and for the next 2 years, and you're under constant worry that at some point you might go to prison for the rest of your life. See how you feel, even if you're acquitted. Is that is that cool with you? Because you got acquitted at the end of the day. You have no money. You owe money to everyone else. And you went through 2 years of stress and anxiety and frustration and all of this stuff. You're, on antidepressants and whatever coming out of this. PTSD, maybe even, right?
The internet's talking bad about you.
Yep.
The internet's talking bad about you. Your name is everywhere. It's being tracked. You can't walk in public anywhere without people saying, isn't that the person that killed her boyfriend? But you're acquitted, so it's cool. That's not the approach that we should be taking with these cases. We shouldn't indict and just be like, well, let the jury sort it out. So I 100% agree with his statement. I do not think it was intimidating at all. I don't think it shows his intent. I said that about Zachariah Anderson. I say that about a lot of cases, that I don't think this case should ever have been charged, let alone made it to a trial. It should have been dismissed, from the get-go. But I'm not, when I say that stuff, it's not intimidating witnesses or anything.
It might be if we're not careful.
Well, we'll see. Let's see. Interested in wrongful convictions? Visit freezachariahanderson.com. Yes, everyone, if you guys wouldn't mind.
.org.
Or .org, yes. I'm sorry, .org. freezachariahanderson.org. Great website set up by Zachariah Anderson's brother and his wonderful wife. But okay, so we've got, I think, one more. So this is the Rolling Road Rally. So he organized essentially a rolling protest. Now, what they said here is that it was 100 to 200 people, the caravan of vehicles, and he didn't broadcast the locations until the protest began. And during the video, he says that the purpose of this rally is to protect or to protest the murder cover-up and framing of an innocent woman. Now, let's take this back. Let's assume nobody is charged. But they think it's this guy. They think was it Corey? Whatever his name is. Nobody's charged, but they think it's this person.
Colin, you mean?
Colin, yes, Colin. Can you protest and say the state needs to charge Colin? The state needs to charge Colin. Can we do that? I mean, we have that with Daybell, right? We need to charge Daybell. We need to charge Daybell.
We have that with anybody that's out there. Like, people are saying that stuff all the time.
Yeah. So
public pressure's a thing. That always has been. Even back.
But I'm just saying, for the sake of argument, let's assume he's not championing, Karen Reed's innocence, but championing charge the guilty person, charge the one who, killed somebody, killed a cop, and is not being charged.
Absolutely. Like, what?
We're in Canton or we're in Norwood, so we're going to Brian Albert's house. Let's go. All right, so welcome, Turtle Riders. We are in the Shaw's Norwood parking lot. We got a whole shitload of.
It's okay. I apparently have a harem. I didn't select it, but I have a harem, and it is what it is. The chat sort of does its own thing and dictates things to us sometimes. So I get it, Bill.
People. There's at least like maybe 100, 200 people here. Hard to tell. But it's going to be hard to keep everyone in line, but that's okay. We'll figure it all out. I've given all the itinerary of where we're going, so I didn't want to broadcast it beforehand. We are going
100%, in my opinion.
We're starting at the Albert's new house in Norwood, and then we're going towards Canton. So after that, the first place in Canton we're going to, God damn, I got the heat seater on. Then after that,
can I just say, I love how he said heat seater, because I always do that too instead of seat heater. I don't know. I made a connection right there.
We're going to what the hell's Washington? Is this Washington Street up here? Let's see. No, Broadway. Okay.
I couldn't agree more. Old line red. She's bringing up the
one left up here. Okay. So after that, we're going to, where the hell are we going after that? Proctor household II. So I didn't want to give them too much of a heads up about the order of operations here. but we're going to the Proctors after that.
Thank you for the gifted membership,
Then-
Wendy.
Do you remember how much they chased around the laundries?
Yeah.
When the
Yep.
Gabby Petito thing was happening and the parents were quiet, there was people parked out on their lawns. They were following them every time they left the house. There'd be a convoy of cars chasing after them.
Well, that was even James and Jennifer Crumbly. You know, they talked about, oh, they withdrew cash and they were hiding out and they abandoned their vehicles and all this stuff. Well, it was because everyone was following them constantly. They were blowing up their phones. They got new phones. They were blowing up those phones. So they got burner phones. They moved out of their home because the news media was camped outside. They ditched one of their vehicles because everyone knew what their license plate and their vehicle was, and they were following them around. It's the same thing.
They did it to Crazy Anthony and her whole family.
Yep.
Crazy.
All
Crazy.
types of shit. So a lot of people in Norwood today.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. If you are a new member, if you were just gifted a new membership, most of my member content is in Discord. So you can click on the member tab and get a link to my Discord and just let Jung or Jamie or myself, I guess, know what your YouTube name is if it's different from Discord. And we'll let you into the rest because you'll just hang out in a waiting room.
Packed. Peacefully protesting the murder and the sequent cover-up of John O'Keefe and the framing of an innocent woman. So yeah, people are saying stay safe, guys. So unfortunately, the McCabe's will definitely not be here. They must have heard about the rolling rally because they took yet another vacation. Never seen a family vacation that much. I mean, I guess I would too if you might be in jail at this time next year. But they're not there because they are in Algonquin, Maine, and we had a couple turtle riders sightings up there. I don't know why they think that. I mean, we found you in Aruba. We're gonna find you in Maine, for crying out loud. Yep. Yep.
Is this thing on? Yeah. All right, we'll wait for people to catch up here.
Yeah, one of the issues in the allegations too that I didn't really get to is that he had a blowhorn at a family event, or not a family, at a sporting event where some of the witnesses, kids were there. I wasn't able to find any video of that whatsoever. I find this blowhorn, I find some rallies. I do see that he went to a sporting event and filmed, but not with a blowhorn. So I don't know. If anyone's got a link to that, let me know.
Thank you guys all for coming here today. We got some Google. We got some free Karen Reed shirts, some Holland Italian Cold shirts. Thank you guys for coming. What's going on, everyone? So, people are going to be driving by like, what the hell's going on? So we're here to peacefully protest. So this is the home somewhere here. Hey, what's happening? Yeah. So we are peacefully protesting outside of the home of Brian Albert. We don't know if he's home right now. I don't see his cars here. I don't see his Cadillac. Why don't we follow me around back? We're gonna go around back.
I clipped this and I only showed like 2 locations, but again, in a 2-hour live stream video where there's no edits, he went to 4 different locations. So again, so they show up, they walk around, they blow some horns, or not blow some, they talk into this, and they ask people to blow horns and then they move on. They're there for like 20 minutes. Not that big of an interruption.
We're gonna pull up in here. Obviously not many people here right now, but
yeah, so I've already jumped then to the 3rd. I just wanted to give some context for the rolling rally. So this is the 3rd location. This is Karen Reed's. No, John O'Keefe's. I don't know. Wait, who's? Jennifer McCabe. That's who this is.
A whole procession behind us, and I guess we'll stand. See, she's got a no trespassing sign. 2 of them on the lawn, so they're very clear about that.
No one goes on the lawn, people.
They are at Algonquin Beach right now. Oh, look, they got a ring camera. Hey guys. Hey Jen. What's going on? We're here. I know you're getting alerts on your phone in Algonquin, Maine. We got people up there too. So no justice, no peace. Hopefully you're not fearing still.
Valhalla, what are your thoughts on no justice, no peace? Is that intimidating? I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
I do feel like that's made headlines before.
It's ringing a bell.
Something about fire.
Jamie, do you know? Is there a dumpster and a fire involved? She just casually sips.
Whatever. I'm not buying into you guys' shit tonight.
And please try to lay off the sauce when you sexually harass me, Jen, with various pictures of half-naked men. That's kind of weird when you did that. So, all right. So people are starting to stream on in here.
Yeah, he was sending him nude pictures and stuff, apparently. Yeah, you guys should check out Turtleboy, his channel. Again, I linked the one stream or the one channel or the one video, the 30-minute video where he kind of gives a summary of the Karen Reed case. But check out his channel. He's got some funny stuff on there. And I mean, whether you're a Karen Reed fan or a Karen Reed hater, you have to admit that this guy's got some personality.
Let people roll, and some people just walk. The Proctor household is like literally a quarter mile from the McCabe household, but they don't know each other. We just got a picture. We got a picture of Michael Proctor in 2017 at his sister's house with his niece in the foreground, but in the background there are the two youngest McCabe children. McCabe, here we are at the home of Jen and Matthew McCabe and all of their 4 daughters, who I do feel bad for. You know, when I first heard this story and I read about it, I'm like, and I found out that Jen McCabe had kids, I'm like, you know, that's kind of sad. Like, the mother's obviously going to go to jail for this, and it's sad whenever kids are separated from their parents like that. But the more I've learned about Jen McCabe, she doesn't really give a shit about her kids very much. And honestly, her kids need to see mom in jail because the cycle will repeat itself. If they think that they can just live life like this and cover up murders and be involved in stuff like this, then what kind of values are they learning? So,
all right. So
the difference between what he's doing and what everyone else does when there's a criminal, you know what I mean? Like when we see other cases and they're just spouting out everybody's business and how much this person it's no different.
Yeah, it's really not. This last part we already talked about. This is the license plate lookup in the post that he had. So he asks for, there's no audio. He asks for someone to be able to DM him and look up a license. Anyone in Canton. Oh, want to take a couple of pictures. Sorry. So this was asking people to take pictures, and then he got these pictures. And then, like he said before, he identified them as, what's her name? Proctor, Elizabeth Proctor's vehicle and things like that. So whether or not he committed a crime when he had those license plates searched, I don't know. I'm not a Massachusetts attorney. But assuming he didn't, right? Like if I just went to a PI and said, hey, look it up, send it back to me. We have no issue, right? So he's an investigative journalist. He's trying to track down the identities. That's kind of an important thing. This is a matter of public concern. So I think he's in the right. Maybe if he conspired with the dispatcher and she wasn't allowed to access it and give it to him, maybe there's enough there for a crime, but that's not really intimidating the witness. None of this is, in my opinion. This is a news broadcaster, and you know he's a cross between old school investigative journalist and a shock jock, right?
Yeah, that's a good summarization.
Yeah.
Summarization.
Yeah, just being sarcastic isn't breaking the law. But yeah, so that's about all I have for this. I'm going to look into some of the these cases.
Video.
What?
The video?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, hang on. Let's put that up. Let me remove this and share this. Let's see. Let me make sure I get the right one here.
You said at the 51 mark.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I have the right video pulled up. Yeah. So hang on a second. Yeah, because this is the phone call.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is. I'm just going to pull it up again. Okay. Yep. All right. This is it. So this is supposed to be a really funny video. We'll find out. This is a phone call with Jill. I don't know who Jill is.
Yeah.
This
Does
should be
anybody in
interesting.
chat know who Jill is? That one slips my mind.
She's the one that
she's the one that loved the phone call, apparently.
Yeah.
It was all about this. And it was like, oh, I got Turtleboy on the phone. We'll see. But it sounds hilarious. Let's check it out.
One was not at Fairview when John O'Keefe was. That's number one.
Huh?
The aunt. Colin's aunt.
Colin's aunt.
And
Okay.
Colin is Chris Albert's son, the one that, yeah, Colin's
She's
aunt.
a Turtleboy stalker. Okay.
That should be pretty easy to do.
Oh, wait.
Well, besides Farrell, I have a stalker in Farrell, but
Godmother.
Because you said you have that.
Don't we all?
You can get that to me. I'll take down all the blogs about Colin. Done. Number 2, any texts, emails, or voicemails from John O'Keefe saying that he wanted to break up with Karen Reed. Because I've heard that a lot, that John was, Karen's a crazy bitch. You guys keep saying that. She's horrible. I've seen a lot of pictures and that have suggested the opposite. So if you could clear that up for me, I will take
she's got great skin.
Oh, not a problem. So just get that to me, and I'll help because I'm fair. I'm fair and balanced. So just get that to me. Number 3, do you have any evidence that Karen was drunk on January 28th? That's number 3. Like actual evidence of that. Can you show me the videos of her taking 9 shots or whatever? Just show this to me. I'd love to see them. Number 4, do you have any evidence that Fairview was or was not plowed between 12 and 6 a.m. on January 29th? Do you have any evidence of that?
These are all very
if you think it was not
relevant
plowed,
questions.
Feel free to share it with me. And I will retract everything I said about Lucky Laughlin. Because I'll assume he's lying, right? If you can just prove that to me.
And
Number
Lucky,
5,
the tow truck
do you have
driver.
any evidence
Plow
in
truck.
any trial in any state in the country where an expert testified for the defendant for free? Because you guys are claiming that this Richard Green fella, who's an expert in his field, is only doing so because he's a hired gun for the defense.
Andrew Branca, however you say it, he testified for free as an expert witness.
That backfired.
Well, it didn't backfire on him. It ended up backfiring on the Public Defender's Office, Colorado. You guys should check it out.
But it seems as if
he got an acquittal,
experts get paid.
and then
That's what they do. So you have any examples
they thanked
of
him by
experts who work
being
for
mean
free?
to him.
And I'll take it down.
Bullies.
Number 6, do you have any evidence in any trial in any state where the defense attorney has not previously represented accused or convicted felons? Because you guys have made a lot of comments about Alan Jackson, that he represented Harvey Weinstein and other shady people.
So what?
Do you have any are you aware of any attorneys?
Okay.
Could you imagine being a lawyer and not representing criminals? Like,
yeah, right.
making that
I'm a
rule?
criminal defense attorney, but I only represent the innocent ones.
Yeah. I don't want all this money,
So here's the thing about criminal defense attorneys. Sometimes people ask me, like, how can you, represent or defend someone who's truly guilty of like heinous crimes and stuff? Our job is very simple. It's to make sure that the state does their job, which is prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And we don't allow the state to take shortcuts, even with the people, the truly heinous guilty ones. Because if they're allowed to take shortcuts for the guilty ones, they will start taking shortcuts for the innocent ones. So I don't care who this defense attorney has represented. I don't care how scuzzy of a person they are. If they do a good job, then they're a good defense attorney.
Defense attorneys who have not represented scummy people. Okay. Number 7. Do you have any evidence in any trial in any state where the defense attorney
I thought he said it was like right here. This is the
member
timestamp
of the press?
Oh wait, he said
to report favorably on his client.
51 minutes.
Because that is another accusation. That
okay, here we go.
For calls. I got one right now. This no one's going to see this one.
Something on it.
I can't remember. Wendy, thank you very much for the 10 gifted memberships. I would go through them, but I'm distracted. But if you guys are new, click the member tab and you'll get a link to my Discord where I have all of my member content. A lot of cases we cover in the past and current and coming
Who was
up.
that guy with her? Was that Nick Murray?
Other ancillary documents and things.
There's lots of interesting stuff in there.
Yeah. In the video that I sort of edited together in my haste, I'm going to post as well so you guys can check that out.
That's
if you want to rewatch it. The one that we just went through.
Please leave your message for 5088.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me pop that down. At least he's doing it here.
Hi, this message is for Trish Lank, the wife of Michael Lank. I've been trying to reach your husband for a while. This is award-winning journalist Aiden Carney from Turtleboy Daily News. I want to know, I was looking to find out, what did Jennifer McCabe call your husband about at 8:38 in the morning? And what did she say? And when she brought him back to the house at 34 Fairview Road, what did they talk about? And also, why did he respond to the house if he wasn't on duty? And why did he immediately assume that Sandra Birchmore killed herself as well? And also, why is he still on the force if 20 years ago he was involved in a lawsuit with the Lapito brothers, whatever their names are?
50 at the 51 minute
clocked in on duty.
Yeah, I went too far.
Beers deep.
I was looking for a phone and I went too far. I passed
to
it.
defend Chris Albert.
So 51 minutes.
If you could give me a
There's
call back,
so much to this case because he's like talking about people that I don't even know what their names are or how they're connected.
You heard right there.
You're
That's
still
why I
too
do
far
what I
in.
do, folks.
You're at
That's why I do what I do.
You're an hour.
That is a trashy person.
No, he's got a phone right here at a minute
who
one.
deserves to be exposed.
51.
51.
Ending, man.
50.
Oh, 51.
51.
Coming soon.
Okay.
What's
I was wondering why he
put the
wasn't
burden on the victim to decide. Okay, his business went out of. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. I'm calling first. I guarantee these. Call your daughter through and go out shopping for eggs just for us, or do you just routinely drive around with eggs in your car? Like that's what I'm just randomly want. And like since thrown your what. So give me a call. Bye.
Okay. All right. We're to the right spot. Figured it out.
Now they're
We're
gonna
professionals.
He's making calls. Don't answer your phone. On that note,
This
let's
all
get this party
pre-planned and lined
started.
up.
Here we go. Canton roulette. Let's go.
Canton roulette.
All right. Now's the fun part. Here we go. I'm not even gonna say who each call is.
So excited.
This
so
one's
excited.
definitely not answering.
He's entertaining.
Yeah, live to tape. Hi, is this Jill? It's Turtleboy. Is this Jill Daniels? What are you doing, Jill?
I'm just. What are you doing?
Are you at all worried that your godson Colin is going to go to jail?
Do you understand that Colin wasn't even there? Do you understand you're a fucking piece of shit?
Really?
Do you understand you're going to jail?
Why am I going to jail for?
You want to know? Okay, can we have a conversation right now?
Yeah, let's have.
Turtle.
Yeah, let's have a conversation. So what is your evidence that Colin wasn't there? Yeah, who's this?
Go fuck yourself, you fucking homo.
Who's that? Dude, they're up to I'm not sure who these people are.
Okay, so I don't know.
Homophobes.
That
The
is
whole lot of them.
Flex, how do you feel about that? No, I don't know if Jill's mentioned in the indictment specifically, but I don't feel like she's afraid or being intimidated, nor the guy on the phone. Who was that? That was awesome.
Probably her man.
Is that not Canton in a nutshell right there? They're obviously drunk.
Great.
He's not going to jail. You're going to. Let's call her back. We're calling her back right now.
Oh my God.
Hey,
Go to hell.
back.
Go fucking take care of your kids, you fucking loser. Go away.
You loser? Who are you? Is this Julie? She called me a fucking loser. She called me a loser.
I don't know how many people in chat are actually from Boston. Your accents, though, are just incredible.
Call again.
I live for that accent. Oh my God, I love a Massachusetts.
It's mock.
What do you want with me?
I just want to know one thing.
I know that Karen Reed is a fucking killer. Why do you keep calling me? Why don't you get a life and fucking focus on your children?
I just want to know one thing. So what evidence do you have that Colin wasn't there? What evidence do you have?
What evidence do you have that he was there?
Brian Albert's grand jury testimony said that he was there.
Okay, Tom Beatty and Aaron Beatty, guess what?
No, Brian Albert said that. Brian Albert said that Colin was in the house.
You think you're so right about
I
everything?
know I'm right. I've seen it.
No, you're not.
I have the documents. I'm looking at it right now.
Dude, you're the biggest fucking piece of shit.
How am I a piece of shit? Your son.
No, fuck you. Shut the fuck up for once in your fucking life because you don't know how to shut up. You think that you're the biggest fucking bully? Colin was not there, and you're gonna look like a fucking piece of shit.
Where was he? What evidence do you have?
Can you ever shut up? Can you ever shut
Okay, let's have a conversation.
Shut the fuck up. For once in your life, can you shut up?
Okay.
You are the biggest friggin' piece of trash in the world. You get kicks off of getting Karen Reed hit John and killed him. You freaking get money off of this. You are a sick human being. Do you know that?
So what evidence do you? Can I ask you something? What evidence?
Turtleboy, what the fuck is your name? Fucking Aiden. What is your name?
My name's Aiden.
Clarence or Aiden?
Aiden. You can call me Aiden. You can call me doctor.
No,
But
I don't want to call. I want to call you a dickhead because that's what you are.
okay.
You are a piece of shit. Do you know that?
I don't.
Like,
I don't.
literally,
I disagree.
Okay, and you taping me because that's illegal.
I said live to tape. Yes, we're live to tape. I've said that.
You're late. You're live. Okay. Well, let me say this right now to you really quick, okay?
Okay.
My nephew and Brian Albert and Jen Albert are not fucking guilty. Your little good lover that you're banging or you fucking want to bang.
Who?
Guess what?
Who?
She's Karen.
You think I want to bang Karen? That's why you think that's why I'm doing this?
Yeah, okay. Guess what? The cat's out of the bag, dude. Okay.
What's out of
I
the
don't know how you got my number. You're a creep. You call me. You call my family. You call whatever. Why are you such a creep?
Can I just ask you something? One question.
Creepy.
What evidence do you have that Colin was not in the house? Serious question.
What evidence do you have that he was? That's a serious
So
question.
okay, I have a
No. That's a serious question. What do you have that he was in the house?
Brian Albert's grand jury testimony.
Brian Albert's grand testimony was that Colin was in the house. But dude, where's the grand? No. Shut the fuck up. For once in your life, seriously, you don't know how to shut up. You're a fucking troll that fucking trolls everybody because you have no life. You have no clear friends, and you freaking focus on your kids. You have 2 kids.
I
You
do.
understand
They're
that?
lovely.
And your wife hates you. So
Okay,
whatever.
but you're changing the subject.
Beside the point. Yeah, no, change the subject, really?
Yeah.
You are a blogger. First of all, I gotta ask you this one thing, because this is one thing I've always wanted to ask you. Where's your award? Your award-winning journalist. Where's that award?
Oh, I'm the 2017 Worcester County Best Media Outlet.
6 years later.
Well, it still counts.
Why don't you produce that?
I have. I've done blog.
Like people on Twitter, like you're not a real lawyer. Prove that you're a real lawyer.
It's about
Okay,
it.
guess what? Shut the fuck up.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Do you know how to shut up? Do you ever know how to shut up?
I'm trying.
I'm asking you right now, do you?
Sometimes.
Okay, no, you don't, because you're a fucking loser. Oh, I went to Truro because somebody gave me a thing. Dude, you have
I did.
you're calling yourself a turtle. A turtle. Do you know what that means? A turtle. Guess what?
We're getting a little off.
No, shut the fuck up.
Whoa, we're getting a little off track.
Shut the
We're getting a little off
Whoa,
track.
you're so angry. Why are you so
Give me
angry?
her full name. I'll try to find her
Yeah.
picture.
I'm so sick of you. You have ruined so many people's fucking lives when Karen fucking killed him. Karen did. And you know what? The truth is going to come out. You know what? Fucking Turtleboy ate it.
Well, but can I read the grand jury testimony right here?
What? Excuse
It
me?
says Colin. I'm reading grand jury testimony. It says Colin Albert was also.
Guess what? Shut the fuck up, you fucking
I
loser.
can't even talk.
Colin was in the house, but he wasn't there when everybody came back from the party. Everyone,
According to Brian and Nicole Albert's testimony before the grand jury, their nephew Colin Albert was also present.
Colin Albert was in the house, but prior to when John
Ooh.
and Brian and Higgins and actually, one question: why is it guilty until proven innocent? Why is that? What about Higgins? What about everybody? Like
Higgins, what you want? Why are you turning on Higgins?
No, I'm asking you. Why, no, I'm not saying. I'm saying there was 6 people in the house. Why are you focusing on Brian and Colin only? Colin was in the house.
I feel like I've given Jen a pretty significant amount of time.
Enter the goddamn house, and you know that.
I know his phone. Then how did his phone go up and down? Then how did his phone go up and downstairs? Then if Karen didn't go in the house, I mean, if John didn't go in the house, then why did his phone go up and downstairs?
That was beautiful,
dude.
That was pretty good.
Dude.
Let me see. I got her picture here.
Dude, did that just happen? Did that just happen?
Where did it go?
We're calling her back in a minute. But again, it says right, because all this shit about Colin wasn't in the house. It's all a lie. Colin, this is the new thing that they're spreading. Colin wasn't in the house. We have evidence. This is what Krusty Panties has told them. And when Krusty Panties talks, you can assume that it comes directly from Jill Daniels and Jen McCabe, and that's Jill Daniels in the flesh right there. That's what she's like.
I need to learn.
We're getting a call back. Hold on.
What's that?
I said, now you got to learn all these nicknames too. He's got Krusty Panties, Chicken
No.
Farm,
She's calling him back right now.
Bukkake.
Is
you
she
know.
calling him back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep playing it then.
Yeah.
Trying to find. I saved it onto my desktop. Why can't I pull it? All right. I'll do it. I'll do it a different way. Hang on. We'll play it here.
Bad connection?
No, not bad connection, you fucking douchebag. Guess what? You're not a journalist. You're nobody. You're a fucking piece
I
of
feel like I'm
shit.
somebody.
You're fucking, you're good time to call for a lawyer because you're an asshole. Colin was not there. Brian didn't do anything. Jen didn't do anything. Karen Reed ran him over.
I know you keep saying that, but you don't have any evidence of that.
I still keep saying that because that's the fucking truth. I'm so sick of you fucking ridiculing every single goddamn person in my family in this world. If somebody disagrees with you, guess what you do?
Well, it's not hard. Just don't kill someone and I'll like you. You know, it's not a big, it's not a high bar.
Not a high bar.
Have you ever shut up in your life?
I feel like you've done most of the talking, in fairness. Okay, sorry. So, whoa. Easy, pussycat.
Turtleboy, you fucking turtle rider. Go get a new name, okay? You fucking turtle douche. I'm done. Colin didn't do it. Brian didn't do it. Jen didn't do it. No one did it. Your fucking bitch Karen did it. So fucking lay on that and fucking figure that out. Go fuck.
Well, can I ask you, but seriously though,
wow,
dude, this is
This is
they're
what she
so
looks like.
stupid.
She looks like a catcher's mitt. For sure.
That's smash.
It looks like she loves.
We've got to see like below the neck.
She
I guess.
sounds so angry in that phone call.
Yes, she is pissed.
There's
He
a
says she's drunk. Now, I've never spoken with her before. She doesn't
She-
sound drunk. She sounds uninhibited.
She didn't sound sober.
Wicked smart. Yes, wicked smart.
God, I love that accent.
Let me
though.
see if there's any more of that.
Do you understand what Karen's lawyers are going to do with this audio? What would just happen right there? Do you understand that?
It's the tan
How
worth it.
helpful this is to the Karen Reed defense team, what just happened right now? She called me back. Easy, pussycat.
You'll
Easy.
see, right.
Like, look at again. This is the Krusty Panties lie that they've been.
She did say that he was in the house.
Yes, she sure did.
He was in the house, but let me do.
Before they got there, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is mad.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I'm glad he gave that to us. Again, there's so much to this case, this Karen Reed case that I don't know about, that you and Baker, Jamie, you and Baker got to start digging in this more. But I really just wanted to focus on Turtleboy because...
But, you know, we've only really watched... Obviously, he picked up the hearings because we were like, what's this about? So we're... Anybody left in chat for Turtleboy, we're so fresh at this. We're trying to dig in, and we've just watched the hearings, and we were appalled by what evidence they were showing and the tactics that the prosecution is doing. Oof, it's bad.
Yeah, so yeah, we're just getting up to speed, say. So I should, I mentioned the Broken Baker enough. If someone could put a link to his chat, that would be great. I did send it over to Turtleboy. I know he has it. But you guys are covering the case, Karen Reed case. I'm just covering Turtleboy. Let's see. Can I grab it now? Yeah. Okay. So let me, I'll put that in the chat. Oh, now I got Baker in my ear. Hang on. Okay. There we go. We both did it. Okay. So guys, check out the Broken Baker. He's only done a couple of things. He has not at all deep dived.
Streams.
Oh, did you?
From when you do it. You typed in the chat, it sends it out to both.
I forgot you were dual streaming.
Yeah.
Anyone over there?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
A few people over here.
Get some views.
Few
I should have
people
put a
over
link. I should have tagged a link at the top. I was just so
You
excited.
did.
Turtleboy
So
yet.
now we're here. Now we're here.
Now we're here.
Well, this is a good stream to have on your channel, Nahala.
Yeah.
I wanted it.
Let me make sure I made it through all the super chats. If anyone had any questions, Wendy H, you've been awesome with your membership gifts. I know I have others. Let's see. Irish with 5 gifted membership. Murphs with 10 gifted memberships. Lefty crawled out of the dungeon that he has been living in for the past 10 weeks.
showed his face. We have proof of life. Yeah.
We have proof of life now. Yes,
were-
it's at the show. He actually, yeah, he's like, I tagged this from earlier. It's like, Jesus, what the hell happened, or what the fuck happened while I was gone? Yeah, right.
I didn't even notice he was gone.
Oh my God, he's been
gone for like 4 weeks.
We thought he was like literally R.I.P. Lefty.
I was literally messaging Baker and Jamie earlier. I'm like, do you think he's dead? Is he okay? I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Lefty.
I'm glad he was.
He crawls out of his bed. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Right. At
So-
least now he's alive.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed the show, all of you new people. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, or at least telling your friends, if I'm not your cup of tea, but you know somebody that might be. And if you got a gifted membership, click on the member tab, which is where we have all of our member content. You can see me my disaster of a marathon run if you really want to. But if you want to go beyond that and actually look at some of the cases that I cover and a lot of the documents associated with those cases, that's all in my Discord. And we also have nudes and cookies. So, so welcome aboard. Just let Jung, Jamie, or myself know what your YouTube name is when you get in there, so we can check you off the list. And what's that?
And Joseph, learn about the dog Chloe. I did, and
what's the dog Chloe?
Oof.
One of the police officers has a German Shepherd.
Brian Albert, the house owner, right, guys, had a dog Chloe.
You remember all those dog teeth looking marks in the arm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the dog,
that's the one that went missing?
Yeah, the dog
he
that
was
nobody
given
can find
away.
anymore.
Nobody knows where the dog is, and then all this, yeah.
Well, they know where the dog is.
No, they don't.
They don't. Oh. Well, I knew the dog went missing. I was getting all excited because I thought maybe we knew where the dog was now.
Yeah, he had the dog, and the dog.
Swimming pool was filled in, house was sold, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, basement floor was redone a couple times. The pool was filled in with cement. The dog went to somebody else, and no one seems to know where it went. And that's the joke that Baker keeps saying, don't make Jamie cry, that the dog went to a nice farm somewhere.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you, Valhalla and Jamie, for being on the panel. Thank you,
always, brother
Turtleboy, for
yes,
coming on and answering some questions for us.
Yes.
And talking about your case, as well as Karen Reed. I do believe that Karen Reed needs to be out there. That case needs to be covered. I didn't know about Turtleboy until Wednesday when he got indicted. So it's very interesting. His situation, Karen Reed's situation. We'll be covering it. I'll definitely be covering Turtleboy going forward. I'm going to keep track of that. I'm going to take a look at these Massachusetts cases that I was sent, and we might do a breakdown on that, as well as some constitutional law. But I really just kind of wanted to go, we're still fact analysis. If you're a defense attorney, if you're an attorney, period, you start looking at the facts, you start putting them together, you look at what is being alleged, you look at what is actually going on, then you start looking at the statutes and things like that. So this is kind of the inner workings of how an attorney would break this stuff down. If I would happen to be representing Turtleboy, this is exactly what I would be doing. So we'll continue to talk about this, and I appreciate you all being here.
I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, very much so. All right, y'all have a good day. Take care.
Later,
Bye.
y'all.